You're listening to Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. For more information, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at SBTSongs or check us out at chrisblair.com. What's up, everybody? We are here at CMA Fest, downtown Nashville. This is one of my favorite weeks. It's also one of the busiest weeks, and we are here at the Music City Center today, and we're about to do some Stories Behind the Songs with a lot of different artists. So stick with us. We're going to be talking to a lot of people. This is going to be awesome. Let's get to it. All right, CMA Fest, day 2. And Maddox Batson in the house. Dude, this is one way to kick it off. Yep. You are just crushing it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And man, and a very young age too. Yes. I'm sure you hear that all the time. But yeah, man, I wanna know what this week means to you, being a part of CMA Fest. Yeah.
Quite literally, it means everything. I mean, I was here last year and I got to play at Losers, but this is my first year actually playing like a CMA Fest venue, and it's so cool to see. You know, I'm 15, so it's like I don't know a whole lot, but I definitely know that the CMA means something. You know, so it's just like super cool to be invited back, and just like it just means everything. I'm super excited for the show today. It's gonna be great, and I'm just really excited and just. And I'm going to have a good time. Yeah, man.
I know everybody is excited to hear you. And 15, so you just blew up on TikTok. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about, like, how did that all start? And what do you think the magic was for you that just made you become so popular so quick?
Yeah, so I was actually my entire life a big sports kid, right? I grew up playing sports and all this kind of stuff. All I really wanted to do. I mean, I played instruments and all this kind of stuff, but sports was like what I wanted to do. And I hurt my knee. I got a really bad knee disease in my right knee. It's called Osgood-Schlatters disease. Not a lot of people have heard of it, but
I had that.
It stinks.
So I know exactly.
It stinks.
Yeah.
And I went to the specialist, and he was like, "It's the worst case I've ever seen." And I'm like, "Oh, of course it is, right?" And I couldn't play any of my sports. I couldn't run, jump, stop, anything. So I picked up the guitar again, started playing the piano again, started going live on TikTok. That's where it really all started. Me and my dad.
So when did you first start piano and guitar?
I started playing piano. I was around 7, and my first ever piano teacher actually introduced me the other night at the Opry. He introduced me before I went on. That was pretty cool. And then I started playing guitar. My dad taught me when I was around 10. Yep, he wanted me to start playing piano first. But yeah, I learned those two a little bit when I was a kid, but I kind of I didn't really love to practice, you know.
Yeah.
I just
especially sports guy. Yeah.
Sports, all the sport. But then I really learned how awesome it is to know how to play music, and the girls like the music as well, just as much as the sport. So I was like, hey man, I might do this too.
You got this figured out, man.
Yeah, I got it locked in.
Yeah.
But I just started playing the instruments again, started going live on TikTok, me and my dad actually, and just started posting covers and all this kind of stuff. And it's super cool to see the snowball effect into everything. It's awesome.
Yeah. And now you have a tour coming up with Lainey Wilson.
Yeah.
You guys are doing 7 shows together. Yep. Talk about that a little bit.
Dude, it's such an honor. I mean, Lainey is, if not one of the biggest country music, people, I don't even know how to explain it. She's great. I mean, she's an amazing person, and it's just such an honor to be going out on the road with her, and I'm so excited she invited me out. It's going to be great. I'm actually playing Bridgestone, which I'm really, really excited about. It's going to be some of my first ever arena shows. Which is going to be great. And fun fact, my sister actually worked at Bridgestone. She worked for the Predators and the arena in general. So, yeah, just going to be a really cool full circle moment to go back and play. I don't know when, but I'm just excited to.
Is she going to be backstage with you?
Oh, yeah, of course she is. Yeah, Lauren, she's great. She actually, she used to work with the Preds, and then she came to work with me. Now she's on my team, which is awesome.
Yep. Love it.
Yep.
And you have a new EP coming out, First Dance. Mm-hmm. So obviously what we do at the listening room and our podcast, Stories Behind the Songs, we love to dive into that. So talk about songwriting a little bit in this first EP.
Yeah. So First Dance came out back in March, and one of the focus tracks, it's called Girl in Green. And a really cool fact about Girl in Green is it's a very, very true story, right? I wrote it about something that happened to me, couldn't really happen to anyone else. So I was at a show, and I was playing, and then in front row, there was this girl. She was very pretty, and she had a green dress on, and I'm like, man, I was starstruck, I guess you could say, right? And I finished the show. We have a meet and greet every show, which is 60 or 70 people come and meet me after the show. It's great. And she came up, and I was like, man, wow. And I was like, I guess my head, like, everything just vanished. I just went like blank, right? And I didn't ask her name, where she was from, or anything. So I didn't know where she was. I was just like, dang, I wish I knew what this girl, like, where she's from, what's her name, or anything. Really, I didn't ask her anything. And me and like my team, we were like searching for her for a few weeks, and her mom actually reached out via email, which I was pretty excited about. Right, her name's actually Liv, and I just thanked her for being the inspiration behind the song, because the whole song's about finding the girl in green, right? And I wrote it in between that time period of not finding her and finding her. And I was just super excited to let her know. I was super thankful that she was the inspiration, and then she actually came to another show and actually heard it live, which was really cool.
Man,
yeah, it was awesome.
That's so cool.
Yep.
And to be writing songs like that at your age is really inspiring, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And writing to me is one of the biggest like aspects of the song. I mean, of course you can you can do the producing, you can perform it and all this kind of stuff, but I feel like writing the song is like when the songs just the beginning of the song is like the coolest part to me, and watching it form and come together is just so cool to me. And that's why I love like writing all of my songs. If you look at like the credits, I'm a writer on like literally I think every single song, which I take a little bit of pride in. And it's really awesome to be in these like rooms with like such like respected writers such as like Asher Gorley and like all those guys, and it's super awesome. So hopefully we can keep it going and keep writing great songs.
Absolutely.
So, yes, sir.
Man, we'll have to get you over and
Dude, I'd love to
do a big thing at the listening room.
I'd love to.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, sir.
I'll make sure my daughter's there. Talk about fans.
Let's go.
She's 13. She was like, "Wait, he's coming?"
Yeah.
She was freaking out. She saw you on the escalator.
Awesome.
She's blushing out there right now. But dude, just thank you so much for your music and what you're doing, and we're gonna keep watching and supporting, and can't wait to see what's next.
Yes,
man.
sir. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being here, bro.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Back here at CMA Fest, Bryan Ruby, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah,
CMA.
man. Yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just kick it off with that, man. Like, what does it feel like for you to be a part of this awesome week?
It's an action-packed week. So much excitement downtown, stuff going on, people, everybody's favorite artists. You're walking down the street, you see somebody new, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've been here in Nashville like 5 years, and this is like really my first time getting to do this as an artist. So it's cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I want to dive into Diggin', your new song, Diggin' Till the Corn Comes Up.
Yep.
Talk to me about that song. What made you gravitate to that song and want to cut it and put it out so much?
Yeah. It's just a gritty country rock song.
Yeah.
And it's really like the main song on my EP Growing Season that's coming out July 11th. But the theme of it is really just like, maybe you feel like you're fighting an uphill battle being a songwriter in Music City and trying to make a name for yourself and getting out on the road and playing gigs, but saying that I'm not quitting anytime soon and I'm just digging in and going for it.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be quitting anytime soon. You've got over 40 cuts to your name. You've landed on Texas Country Top 50.
Yes, sir.
iTunes Top 25. I mean, just People Magazine, Huffington Post, Music Row Magazine. You've got so much going on, man. And I feel like, you're just getting started.
Getting started. I mean, it's a grind, but I go out, my first couple years in Nashville, I'd hit up the listening room, I'd hit up the other spots and try to meet every single songwriter there, every single artist, pitch them songs, try to get in a room and write. And still doing that every day, and that's the name of the game, just taking it one day at a time and trying to write the best songs we can.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
And you used to play baseball. You were a minor league baseball player. So
yes,
what was the shift? Did you do music growing up?
I did.
Yeah. So talk to me about like what was that shift like?
Yeah. So I never made it to the big leagues. Was just in the independent leagues. So very low level pro baseball.
I mean,
but
that's still a lot. That's a good accomplishment.
I always say like I made it off the ground, but like you see the guys playing on TV that are making millions of dollars. I was not one of those people. I was a low level independent pro guy. And it's a lot like being an independent artist. We would play, if we'd play under the lights at 7 p.m., I'd go to whatever town we were in and set up, and open my guitar case at the local strip mall or wherever. and play for tips and play my music. And I would even do writing sessions like on Zoom with writers in Nashville. I was always kind of doing music on the side.
Yeah.
And finally, I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? I need to be here. I was already living here in the off season, but I need to be here 100% of the time and do this.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So it wasn't an injury or anything that made you leave baseball. It was just the love of music.
Yeah, it wasn't an injury. I mean, I started playing ball when I was 7 and officially retired when I was 27. So 2 decades. And, I feel very fortunate for how far I was able to get considering my talent level.
Yeah, I mean,
I will
absolutely.
say that. And I just kind of hung on, and I was a lot like the multi-instrumentalist of the baseball team. I could play a little bit of third base, a little bit of left field. I could be a bullpen catcher if needed.
Yeah.
Like I was never on the star trajectory, but I was just happy to be part of the team. And it's been a transition moving into music full time and being like, no, I'm the one in front of the microphone. This is, I'm the one who's got to put on the show but it's fun, and stepping into that and finding my whole artist thing, figuring out what I want to say.
Yeah.
And just singing about my life.
Yeah. Man, I love that. Typically you do hear with people that have been in a sport that long where they, they get to, almost the majors, basically. I mean, your minor leagues is still a huge accomplishment, like I said. And it typically is something that triggers like, oh, I can't play baseball anymore, or I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So what do I do now? And I have a love of music. So I think that's really awesome to hear that, man. Is like, it wasn't any of those things. It was just like, I know this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's
well,
time,
I was
so.
never, I mean, I think maybe if I was on the star trajectory and moving up and headed towards the big leagues and millions of dollars, maybe I would have stuck around.
You
a little
are on
bit.
the star trajectory of music.
For different things.
Yes.
Different thing.
I want to know a little bit about you started Proud to Be in Baseball, 501c3. Talk about that. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so we're a local charity based here in Nashville.
Yep. And
basically what I wanted to do before I left baseball, like my dad's a baseball coach back home in high school, still is. And I wanted to set up the thing that could help younger players like me.
Yeah.
So it's just a charity. We raise money. We do events. We were over at the Nashville Sounds minor league game the other night. And it's always fun for me to still like feel connected in the baseball world and get to go back, and all for a good cause. And you can check us out online if you're interested, and it's a good time.
Yeah. It's very cool that you're doing that, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
So let's talk about you've got upcoming appearances. You're going to be out on the road, Ty Herndon, and talk about everything that's coming up.
Totally. So we're doing a lot of stuff right now. I'm about to hit the road coming up and do a little summer tour. It's, to be honest, I'm not at the point of like playing major festivals and stuff, but I'm hustling. So it's gritty. We're going out on the road. We're getting booked wherever we can, playing a lot of bars, occasionally opening for people. But it's fun. Sometimes it's solo. Sometimes it's a broken down band. Sometimes it's the full band, when we got a bigger thing, like later today down in Franklin. But, it's just the beginning, and I'm so excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, man. It's pretty awesome. So what do you think you're most excited about?
Just getting to do this. I mean, it's every day. I really do feel so lucky to be making connections in the music world and having songs get cut by people, and getting those first couple of opportunities to go play myself and sing my songs. So I'm just excited. Like came from first ever meet and greet in music, was like 20 minutes ago. So this is really like the beginning. Yeah. But hopefully one day we're back here. We're having a different conversation a couple of years down the road, but I'm just happy to be on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about your EP that's coming out in July.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is always a hard question, but do you have a favorite song on there?
Yeah. I would say there's a song called Ball Cap. The EP is about growing myself and working hard and chasing my dreams and not wanting to quit or give up. And But there is one song that I slid on there that was more of just an acoustic thing.
Nice.
And that's that ball cap song that's just talks about where I came from and where my heart's at.
Yeah. Did you write that song?
No, I didn't. That was an outside cut.
Okay.
So that was actually, and that was a big choice for me. Like, I do write a lot.
Yeah.
But I recognize that a lot of the hit artists will source songs from other places. So I hit up the 20 best writers that I've been able to meet, like personally, in my 5 years here in Nashville. And I said, guys, here's the project. Here's a couple songs. Pitch me some stuff. And a couple guys were guys that I'd met at Listening Room and other places around town. And a bunch of people pitched me songs, and I ended up pulling a couple of those. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. I like A&R'd, I think.
Yeah.
I think I could say that, like sort of A&R'd my own record, which was kind of a cool thing. You know, I'm not at the point where you got a whole label doing that. So I was doing it.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
And it lets you put together, I think, especially with, the first EP, it's like, it's your story.
Yeah.
So it lets you be who you are and introduce the world to who you are in your way. So I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And a lot of artists I hear, who are songwriters, sometimes are pretty, closed off or, very, very protective of like, man, this is my introduction to the world. So I have to have credits on all of these songs. Yeah. No. So I applaud you of like, man, like, whatever the song is that tells my story is what you did. That's great.
Yeah. I feel like I consciously had to make that choice to not be, I was like, I don't want to be one of those artists that's just like, I'm just recording my songs, because you miss out on so many good songs.
Yeah.
And the songs that are outside cuts that I take, like, it has to hit me like, oh man, this really feels like my song, even though I didn't write it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to do a couple of those.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you've been in town for 5 years, and you've got all this stuff going on. What kind of advice would you give listeners that, are aspiring, aspiring artists, new songwriters of town, whatever?
Yeah, just start. I feel like I was so nervous to push out my first single. Like I was so nervous to post that first video on TikTok, of me singing. And it's really just about getting the reps in. Yeah. Like the first song you write is probably not, I don't care if you're you're a hit artist or if you're somebody new. If the first song you write is probably not that great, but the next one's a little bit better, and it's just about building up the muscle. Yeah. And getting out and doing it. First show I ever played was a coffee shop back at home, an open mic, and I got to sing 2 songs, and there was 2 people there. But now and then it went from 2 to 4 to 10 to 15 and up from there. Yeah. Like it's just step by step and refusing to quit and putting the work in and just working on your craft.
And now here you are having interviews at CMA Fest.
Yeah, here we are. Dude. First one ever.
Love it, man.
At CMA Fest. Yeah.
Last question. I love asking this. If you can go back to 8-year-old Bryan, everything that you've done through baseball and music and where you are now, what advice would you give yourself today?
Keep going and have confidence in what you want to say. Starting out, I did not know if people were going to like my songs, if I had something worthwhile to say, or if people would care. But with each song that we write, with each video that gets posted, with each place that we play, we are able to connect with people who do connect to the music. And that is the most special thing for me as a newer artist that's not used to getting shown around and asked to do stuff, is when I actually get to meet real life people who have connected to my songs. We were at a meet and greet right before this, and we had a couple people come up with T-shirts on, and I was like, "These are my people,
dude! You gotta
oh my God, they're here, they're here." So yeah, but yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. Well, Bryan, thanks for spending some time with us. Awesome. I know this is a crazy busy week for you, and appreciate you carving out some time to sit down.
Sure, thank you.
You guys check him out, Bryan Ruby, and got big things happening.
All right,
let's go. Greylan James here at CMA Fest. How you doing, bro?
Bro, so good, dude. Excited to be here.
Crazy, busy week. I think I say that to every single person I sit down with. But what is this week like for you, man?
It's been a different CMA Fest for me. So I played a couple things on Thursday, and then got done, hopped on a flight to Columbus, Ohio, played a radio show yesterday morning, and then flew from there to Philly, played a show there, flew back to Nashville last night, and then I'm here this morning.
Let's go, man. That is
bouncing around.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you are a Tennessee native.
I am.
And I want to dive into, you've had a great career already as a songwriter.
Thanks, man.
Now turning artist. So I want to talk about what was it like just growing up in Tennessee, and like what gave you that bug first to be a songwriter?
Man, honestly, growing up there, when I was a kid, Kenny Chesney was just popping off.
Yeah.
When I was 6, 7 years old, I got to go see him play at Neyland Stadium, which I always saw football games there. And so, like, seeing a guy from my hometown selling out the hometown stadium, 100,000 seats was unreal. And that definitely, I left there and, I told my parents that night I want to be a country music star. That's what I want to do. And they got me a guitar for Christmas. My papa did. And, from there, I just kind of got the bug and never let it go. I started writing songs when I was a teenager about, what I was going through with, my first couple breakups and all that stuff. So I've always loved it, and it's never wavered.
Yeah. Let's talk about songwriting. Obviously, what we do at the Listening Room and the Stories Behind the Songs podcast and all of that. I'm the Problem that you wrote for Morgan Wallen. Take us into the writer's room behind that song.
Man, I think that just when you're writing for somebody like Morgan, it's definitely intimidating because you've just got this massive pressure because everybody in the world is writing for Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
So you've got the biggest songwriters across from LA, New York, Atlanta, Miami, all the way over to London, trying to write a song for this guy. And, I've never really been in that seat from the country music space, like you think of pop and you're like, okay, the best writers in the world are writing for that. But, you got somebody in our format at that magnitude. It's definitely a special thing. And it's really cool for the writers that somebody of his magnitude is listening to the songwriters in Nashville still and not going outside of town. So it's still just so inspiring because he really does cut the best songs in the world. So to get one on there felt like, okay, hell yeah.
Yeah, I bet, man.
It's awesome.
Where'd the idea come from?
Man, I think that, it's just one of those things where everybody's just throwing out a ton of different ideas for Morgan, and you just kind of pick the best thing in the room that day. You're just kind of looking at the life that he's living, and just try to take bits and pieces of what he is usually comfortable with singing. And it's like with any artist, you just try to write their story and give it your best shot.
Yeah. You also wrote Nothing Left for him.
Yeah.
Any cool story behind that song?
Man, so that song, it was a wild thing. So I went through a breakup last year and bought a T-shirt right when we were kind of on the rocks, and bought a T-shirt for Tennessee baseball winning the national championship. And it literally just said Tennessee Vols baseball national champions, and I was so proud of that T-shirt. And she stole it. And when we broke up, she took it, and I never saw that T-shirt again, never saw her again. And I wrote that song about literally that situation. And Morgan being from East Tennessee, he was actually at that World Series when Tennessee won that. So I think he heard that and was like, hell yeah, another Tennessee fan. I wrote a song, went through a breakup about it. So it was really cool to hear that and see people kind of see the thread behind that song.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, great songwriter. What was the light bulb for you when you decided, okay, I'm going to do this as an artist?
Man, I think Cole Swindell and Kenny Chesney had a lot to do with that. I moved to Nashville to be a country music singer. I really didn't know much about the songwriting space and the publishing deal space. And so when I got here, I realized that the songs I was writing about the girls I was dating in high school were not good enough. They weren't going to get the job done. And I was a big fish in a small pond back home. And when I got here, I was a minnow. And so a lot of that had to do with I needed to get better at writing songs. And so I kind of just fell into that and I fell in love with it. But when I started to get my songs recorded by the artists that were selling out the stadiums I wanted to play one day, just seeing those songs out there, I still had that missing feeling of like, I wish I was on stage singing those songs. And so, Cole Swindell called me, after recording a few of my songs and was like, man, thank you for the songs, but you need to start putting out your own music. I love your voice. And, then Kenny Chesney said the same thing. He hooked me up with a management company. And, since then I've just been on the road grinding.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Obviously you just talked about the last 24 hours, 24, 48 hours if you're
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
I mean, you're bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your recent release. Wait till I have kids. Or
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
till you have kids. Where'd that song come about? And take us into that room that day.
Yeah, man. So I'm always on the road on weekends, and Sundays are usually the time that I get to kind of chill and catch up with my family back home. And so I usually spend Sundays calling my mom and my dad and just checking in with them. And they're usually like, "How you doing, Greylan?" I'm always like, "Mom and Dad, you have no idea how tired I am. I'm just tired all the time. I'm stressed. I'm so busy. You guys have no idea." And they're like, "Oh, you have no idea. Wait till you have
Wait till
kids."
you have kids, yeah.
And so just a songwriter in me, I think at the time Cody Johnson was going into the studio looking for songs, and I was writing with another guy, Matt Roy, who friend of the listening room,
Yep.
but also a
Yep.
great songwriter, and he's been a good buddy of mine. We've probably written 200 or 300 songs together, and he also has no kids. And so we sat down, and I told him I had this idea. And we know each other's family, we know each other's parents, and we both come from really great families. And so we just really channeled what we learned from our parents on how they raised us, and how we'll take some of that advice. And when we have kids one day, we'll probably raise them like how our parents raised us. And
Yeah.
so it was actually a pretty easy song to write, despite the fact that we don't have kids ourselves. And then I know Cody Johnson's team heard it and loved it, and I called my record label because they were kind of getting frustrated with me. They're like, "Hey man, like you gotta start keeping these songs for yourself. Stop giving them away.
Yeah.
We need some hits for you." And that's one of the first songs that they were like, "No, don't give it away. We're putting this out on your record." And so it's been really cool to see the reaction. And again, despite it not being a personally true story, it still kind of is a true story because that's how it's about my parents' advice.
Yeah, it's so great. And as a parent, I can tell you it's true.
Thanks, man.
These
That's
bags
awesome.
under my eyes, yeah, it's not because of CMA week. It's
That's right.
it's
I
'cause of
can't,
those
dude,
kids.
I can't
Yeah.
even complain about being tired from the past 24 hours of being on 4 planes because I'm like, man, my parents will be like, "Wait till you have kids."
Yeah.
So I gotta hold it back.
Yeah. What's next, man?
Man, I'm working on a lot of new music. I just teased a song last week that I'm really stoked about. That really took off and it's taken a life of its own. So I think just a lot of touring. We're touring with Cole Swindell in the fall, and we're working on a lot of new songs, and got some cool songwriter releases too. So hopefully I'll be at the listening for playing them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is Cole's TM, so I'll
yeah,
probably be out on the
dude.
road a little bit with you. So that'll be a blast.
That whole team is fantastic, bro. You gotta be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I know you got a lot going on. So last question.
Yeah.
If you can go back to 8-year-old you,
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give yourself today?
Oh man, I think just be patient. I was ready for my life to change every single day growing up, and I just kept thinking that the next day was going to change my life, that next summer was going to change my life, and every day has changed my life. Everything's just been the most awesome journey getting here. So just be patient, enjoy it, and take it all in.
Greylan, appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
big
y'all.
things happening for
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, the Crowe Boys in the house,
Hey.
CMA Fest. This is your first CMA Fest performing. So, man, how's this week been? What's the feeling going on inside right now?
Honestly, it's pretty high. Just like being able to jump in, super fast paced, getting to see a lot of amazing people, meet with a lot of fans. There's a lot of firsts for us while we've been here, so it's been really great.
Yeah. What's been the most exciting you think so far?
Ooh, man. I mean, I've personally loved listening to all the music, so
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
just watching other bands and stuff.
yeah, it's cool to like just be able to discover things here that you just weren't aware of yet.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's dive into your viral hit.
Sure.
Where Did I Go Wrong? So you wrote that song and the whole album that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So
Yeah.
tell me about the story behind that song that actually led to your record deal.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, we were touring in a band. It was the Crowe Boys. We were just doing a different genre and writing a different style of music. And it was with our other brother as well. And we were really struggling with our music. We were really struggling with like our purpose and who we were as artists. And we had kind of come to a place in our career where we were really just like, hey, let's just like call it quits. You know, and so we kind of stepped away and started talking through like, all right, what do we want to do? And we had ended up in a position to work through some of these songs with our friend Andrew Campanelli, who produced our record. And our brother, who he stepped away, he was like, hey, I don't really want to tour, you know, because we grew up traveling on the roads.
Yeah.
We've been touring our whole lives. And he's like, I just don't want to do that as a career. And so he stepped away, and me and Wes really dug in deep and just started to write music, I think, more so from a place of, we hope other people like this, and like, do we like this?
Yeah.
You know, and so we wrote, you know, I just remember sitting there thinking like, these are all the things that are really frustrating to me right now, you know, and just like the lot of like really annoying setbacks that happen in life, and like the frustrating parts when you're literally just trying to like make it. And it's like, you keep asking yourself, why is nothing working out? Like, why does this keep happening to me? And, you know, so we put that song out on TikTok, and I mean, it's been a journey since we did that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think it was about that song that had your fans connect so much, and that song just went viral?
I think looking back now, there's so much we didn't really know in the moment, but I think really taking time to, like, we've gotten to know our fan base really well over the past year and a half.
Yeah.
And I really think for them and the people that enjoyed that video, it had to do with just the vulnerability and the honesty. And a lot of our music is pretty vulnerable, just like about our life and the depths of emotion that we've gone through, different circumstances as like brothers, and as like, you know, as like parents, and, you know, like just as men trying to like navigate life together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so like, I think it really just boiled down to like, oh, there's something here that's like really meaningful. And, you know, and I think it just came like, it was meaningful to us. And so I think the people that it was meaningful to just found it.
Yeah. You talked about early on with your other brother, it was a different genre.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. Like, how does it switch? Because I think like you guys have a really cool, unique sound. Your vocals are just fire, man. The blending, which is, you know, probably like your blood, right? So it's like, but yeah, like what was it that like made you just want to switch from the genre that you were doing to what you're doing now?
Sure. I'll like start it, and then I'll let you, because honestly, a lot of it revolves around you. So we were playing alternative rock, and like alt rock pop, and this is like full backing tracks. Like, I wasn't playing, you know, I was jumping around on stage with a mic, just a very different way of doing music. It was more about performance, you know, because we really love to perform.
I'm having a hard time like hearing your music, like, and it's so chill, and like
if you were to hear some of the demos we had, you would have been like, "Holy cow, that's crazy!" But yeah, so we decided to step away from that, and we were in this place where we were going to go on a tour. We called it the "Not Sure What We're Doing Here" tour, and it was probably the most unsuccessful tour in all of history. I think out of like 8 shows, I think we had more shows than people that showed up to the shows. But like 2 weeks before we left, we're like trying to figure out what we want to play, and then
so I was playing bass at the time, and we had a mandolin in the studio, and I was like, I kind of want to switch it up a little bit. Like, I don't think it would sound good like the way we're doing it now. So I picked it up, learned how to play it like 2 weeks before we go on tour, and
mandolin, man.
Just like that.
And
it stuck. I love playing it now, and I think a lot of the style comes from a little bit of
just
that,
like stripping everything back.
It's very folky. I love it.
Yeah, and it was also just so funny because like we were like, okay, we need to like not do backtracks. Like, we can't have a mandolin and then acoustic and then just like backtracking. Like that's just weird. And so we were like, all right, let's just throw a kick drum down there and just do our harmonies as usual. And I think in a lot of ways we do both love folk music as well. It's like an integral part of like both of our journeys. And but yeah, and we went on this tour, and we just really fell in, like, we had just a blast. We fell in love with the music we were writing and performing, and the few people that did come, like, we got to know really well, and we got to meet a ton of people just going to other shows. And I think our friendship outside of our brotherhood, it became something new for us, not like with our other brother stepping away. And so that was like a really cool moment for us, just like figuring out who we were. And then I think it was like a month after that is when we released Where Did I Go Wrong on TikTok.
Yeah. Man, I love that. And then yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
As this comes out, it will be a while. But just as we sit here today, yesterday, you put out your debut album, Made to Wonder.
Yeah.
You got to feel pretty good about that.
Pretty good. Yeah.
So, how many songs did you guys write to bring it down to the songs that made the album?
We picked 10 out of 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
And you wrote all of them?
Yeah. So there's 2 songs that were like, we were struggling to finish, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so there's like 2 songs that I had some co-writers come in and be like, hey, let's do this here. But the rest of it, yeah, wrote the whole thing.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song on the album?
Oh man.
I personally like "Lucky to Be Alive." It's my favorite song on the album. So
That's a
Why
good
is
one
that?
to play.
It like paints this picture of like life, like going through life and hardships and stuff, and but at the end of the song, it's like, or the chorus, it's just you're like shouting, "Lucky, we're lucky to be alive." And, and that
Even
I
through
just
it all.
and yeah, I just love that. I love that we're all here. We're all lucky to be here. So
At CMA Fest.
Heck
Let's go.
yeah.
Come
CMA
on.
Fest.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well, I wish the best of luck to you guys. I mean, it's just, like I said, I mean, the blending of the vocals and just what you guys have going on is really cool.
Thanks.
If you could go back to 8-year-old you, I'll let both of you answer this separately. If you can go back to 8-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself today?
I'd say to like be more vulnerable with your feelings. You know, like so I guess a big part of our story is we lost our mom about at that age.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I really bottled up for a long time. And so a big part of my journey, especially over the last couple of years, has just been like learning to be vulnerable, learning to like wear your heart on your sleeve, and to like live life and feel deeply. You know, I think that's where like good relationships come from. But I think as a kid, I was just so afraid to like connect with people and to get hurt. And I really, like, if I could go back, I'd be like, hey, I know it's going to hurt, but like live life to the fullest and like feel it, go through it, and like love and feel deeply.
Yeah. What about you?
I think for me it's kind of on the same lines. I've always had like super bad like social anxiety, and I think just growing up with that, I think if I were to have to give myself advice, it would be just relax and let life, be life, live life, and don't worry about things that you can't really control.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Great advice. Love it. Well, guys, thank you for stopping by, and I know you're super busy taking time out of your day, so we wish you the best of luck, man. Keep rocking.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank
it
you so much.
Yeah. Here we are, Bigg Vinny. Bro, I love you, dude.
I love you too, buddy.
Man, we've known each other for, I don't know, almost 20 years probably now, but
Yeah, it's got to be close to 20.
yeah. CMA Fest, what does this week mean for you, man?
You know, as a kid, I was a fan. You know, I've always been a fan. I'm still a fan of it. You know, I think it's great. What other place could you go and get pretty much every single artist you ever wanted to see, from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, all the way up to the modern day, to the person that you've never heard of yet, all in one place, and get to go hear some great music. It's a chance for the artist to be able to advertise themselves, putting these things out there, all the different ways that we can put ourselves out there right now. I think if you're an artist and you're not trying to be part of it in some way, you're failing yourself. You're not doing the proper promotions of things you need to do. But I just think it brings people together. Like, I've never seen anybody unhappy at CMA Fest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, how can you be? You're surrounded by this amazing music.
It's just fun. It's positive. Every year I'm surprised. I go to the autograph booth, and every year I think nobody's going to show up for me.
Yeah.
And every year, dude, I got a line, 100 people waiting to get their picture with me. And they bringing up pictures of us, 15, 17, 18 years ago. This is when I saw you with Toby at such and such. And I'm like, man, I can't believe people still care. It makes me feel good as an artist, you know?
Yeah.
I really hope, I guess that's what I hope for every young artist that's coming up, is like, I hope you get the chance to have that 20 years from now,
Yeah, absolutely, man. You've had an amazing career. I want to talk about, we've got it right here in our hands. Let's talk
drip,
about
baby.
Walmart drip.
It's a great story. This is the most fun I've had writing a song, and it's the goofiest, funnest, craziest song I've ever written. But I literally went to, remember we had the eclipse, April of last year in 2024. In case you see this 40 years from now, we had the eclipse coming in, and everybody's like, "You got to get your glasses." Like, "Yeah, we'll get some. We didn't get any. Well, it's the day of the eclipse. I'm like, "Crap, we ain't got no glasses." And my wife looks and she sees that they have them at Walmart. So I'm like, "Well, we got to go to Walmart." We get there, and then I realized I was being tricked because I got up to the door and I said, "Babe, just the glasses. We ain't getting anything else." She goes, "I just need to get a few things," which I knew was going to cost me $500. I mean, that's just the way Walmart is.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay. I said, it's just way. So I was kind of pouting a little bit, but I looked over, and I don't know if you know this, but Snoop Dogg has his own line of clothing inside Walmart now. And I see this glorious swimsuit, and the top is like a net jersey, so you can kind of see my nipples through it. It was great. And the bottom is these like chubby shorts like John Stockton used to wear. They only come halfway down your thigh. So I'm like, well, I got to get that, So I get it. I take it over and put it in the cart. My wife said, "I thought you said we're just getting the glasses." I'm like, "You got like 40 things. Can I have one swimsuit? It's like $12 at Walmart." She goes, "Fine, put it in the cart." So I get back home. Of course, I do what every guy does. I immediately put it on because I'm like, I want to see how it feels and how it fits.
Yep.
So I put it on. Literally sitting there, I start looking at my wife. We're in the back. We made a little picnic. We're going to watch the eclipse. And I sit there, I'm going, "Dang, girl, you get all this drip." She goes, "What are you talking about? You got something?" I was like, "No, my drip, my fit, girl." I said, "That's what all the kids are calling their outfits now, their drip." And she's like, "You're 40 years old." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "Well, either way, it's my drip." I said, "It's all yours." And she goes, "Yeah, you're an idiot." I said, "Yeah, I know, but you married me, so what does that say about you?"
That's right. Yeah.
This is 100% true. So I sit there, I start going, "Walmart drip. From my head to my toes got that Walmart drip." And she goes, "Stop." I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
She knew exactly what you were doing at that point.
Yeah. She goes, you need to stop right now." I was like, "What do you want me to do?" I was like, "I can't get it out of my head." She's like, "You need to go in and write it." So she supported me on it.
Yeah.
She said, "Go in there and write it." She goes, "I know it's crazy, goofy, whatever. Go write it." I said, "Okay." So I write the first verse and chorus, and I'm excited about it. And I'm like, okay, I put it on the internet. It kind of did 25, 30,000, little views, and people were like, dig. I was like, oh, it's kind of a little mini viral thing for me. And then I put it away, and I didn't think nothing of it. Well, I was out speaking at schools. I speak at schools all around the country. I'm speaking at this school, and I'm with my buddy Jared Blake, and Jared goes, "Hey, you ought to sing Walmart Drip." I'm like, "I only wrote a verse and chorus." He goes, "Sing it anyway." So I sing it, and by the end of the verse, all the kids are screaming it back to me, "Walmart Drip, Walmart Drip." And they get done, all of them coming up, "Where can I go get that song? Where can I go get that song?" I'm like, you can't. I just wrote that. That's all I wrote. They're like, "Man, when you get it, please send it to us." I'm like, "Okay." And I called my wife, and of course I went back and watched the video. I'm like, dang, they really were into it. And so I decided to finish up the song and get it going and stuff. And so I actually had a guy come in out of Texas that really believed in the song, put some money in to help me kind of, push it, get the promotions going, things like that. But then when I made the music video, I sent it out to some friends because I wanted to see if they'd be in the music video.
Yeah. And
Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC is featured in the video. Miles Burris that played for the Raiders, and he's in a bunch of big movies now.
He's a good friend.
Butter, of course. Miles?
Yeah.
I love Miles.
We have a small group that we do every week. He's over at our house every Wednesday.
He's the best. He's in the whole video with me. It's basically me taking him in and showing him how great Walmart is.
Yeah.
And so he gets in the car and he's like, "Dude, Vinny, I need your help. I've got so much to get done on my honey-do list, and I got to get an outfit. I need to be dripping hard for my son's kindergarten graduation." I'm like, bro, I got you. There's one place we can go that's got everything you need. He goes, "Everything?" And I said, "Everything you need." And we go into Walmart. And then I'm basically just showing him all the different things in Walmart. But we feature Taylor Holder is featured in it. Of course, Butter's in it. Ken Harrell, who we how we met the very first time. Ken Harrell is featured in it, and he's my songwriting mentor. My wife and kids are in it. So, and then Brad Lee, the big businessman out of Vegas, he flew all the way in to be in the video because he loved it. He loved the song. So
I love it.
So if it don't go, I'm saying y'all got to go stream it because if it don't go, it might be my last chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I always keep making music, but I'll just be managing other artists.
Well, rumor is you've got more music coming out soon.
Yeah, I've decided, with this release, kind of looking at how Spotify works now, and just not just Spotify, but all the streamers. You got to put out stuff every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
that's just that's what it is, and that's how promotions work now. And the only way you're ever going to get the algorithms and get to be part of stuff is by putting out music. So I've got one called FUF250. It's the sequel to Pickup Man.
Yeah.
And it's basically just this song saying that it ain't working for me. Like it might work for Joe Diffie, but for me, it's like FUF250.
Yeah.
I got that one. I've got, of course, my Mamie song. It's one I'm, for years and years, I kept saying I'm going to do it. I got it all recorded up. It's, going to be a song. I'm going to do something to, benefit Alzheimer's and things of that. But yeah, always going to put about music. And there may or may not be some trailer choir
Come on,
songs in the
Yeah.
near future. Me and
Yeah.
Butter have been working on. So
man. You one of the things I've loved about you is you've always had your hands in so many different things. I mean, you're
mostly
From-
cookie jars.
from cookie jars, yes. From from when we first met with Trailer Choir and everything else. I mean, you go on and you win The Biggest Loser. We had some celebrations at the listening room with that.
Yeah.
I've still got pictures from probably, I don't know, what was that, 15 years ago or something?
15
like that?
years ago.
Yeah. So like you holding me over your head, which you probably couldn't do anymore. I've gained some weight.
I could still do it.
Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Should we
Guaranteed.
try it?
We'll get a picture.
Should
for
we
the
try it?
images.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll try it. We're Vinny is going to bench press me.
I can press you right over my head.
Okay.
As long as you can hold your own body
We're
weight.
going to
up,
do it.
got
I can
you.
do it. I don't know if my core is as strong as it used to be.
We got
Actually, I know it's not. But anyway, so you've done all this. You also, what was maybe a month ago or so that I ran into you at the listening room,
Yeah.
and you told me about this book.
Yeah, I got a kid's book. Me and Butter wrote this song with a girl named Sue Sandberg. Now, Sue Sandberg was one of the original Fly Girls and in Living Color. And then she wrote all the original score and movies, songs for the movies that the Fairley Brothers made. Kingpin, Dumb and Dumber, Something About Mary, Stuck, she's awesome.
Yeah.
We got together and I was like, I want to write a song about a bully. And then Butter goes into this story. I remember my bully. I was in 3rd grade. And all of a sudden I was like, she? He's like, yeah, she. She grabbed me and she kissed me right on the cheek, And he was so serious. And I was like, oh, you're being funny. He goes, no, it's really, we were all scared to death of her. And I thought she wanted to beat me up, but sure enough, she just wanted to kiss me on the cheek. So I'm like, well, that's the song we got to write. So me and him and Sue sit down, we wrote this song. And the day we wrote it, I said, man, this would be a cool kid's book. And I put it away and never thought of that. Was, 17, 18 years ago, whatever. But then I had my own kids and I was reading some books that we had gotten and people were like, oh yeah, get this book. So we get the book. Some of the books I read were awesome. I'm a big Dr. Seuss fan. Some of the books I read, I'm like, what in the world did I just read?
Yep.
What is this crap? And my wife looks at me and she goes, if you think you can do any better, why don't you write a kid's book? I was like, I already wrote a kid's book. She goes, you did? I was like, yeah, I wrote a kid's book a long time ago. Buddy, Adam's art box, Michael Adams, he went in and Adam Michaels went in and did all of my illustrations for me and all that kind of stuff, and he made it look amazing. I did true watercolor paints. I didn't want to have the AI coloring and stuff like that. I wanted it to look like the old school books.
Yeah,
and he crushed it. It's turned out really good. I've sold probably 400 or 500 copies of it just at my merchandise booth, selling it, and people love it. And it's got a song with it called "The Bully" that me and Butter and Sue Sandberg wrote.
I love it.
But I do that. I got the Buffalo River Resort. Me and some partners own that out there. We
Lance.
got Lance. Lance. I just saw him upstairs. We got Lance and my buddy Moon Troll, which you probably met Moon through the years. He was big with Sam. He discovered Sam Hunt and all that. And then a buddy of mine named Chris Lasich from out in Arizona. We invested in this place, and now we're having concerts and camping and canoeing and kayaking and rodeos and all kinds of stuff out there. So
I love it.
I just realized like a long time ago, well, actually really during COVID more than anything, during COVID, I'm like, dude, I've got one way to make money. And if shows stop, whether they don't want me to come play no more or a pandemic happens or whatever, I don't have any way to make money and feed my family. So I said, I better diversify and get some other ways to make some money in here. So I've been blessed to do that over the last few years.
Yeah. Well, you've done a great job, man. You're also a fitness coach and it's just, you never cease to amaze me. It's like every time I run into you, you're like, oh yeah, dude, I just did this. It's like, next thing I just bought a spaceship. I'm building a place. I mean, it's just whatever.
Well, Elon and Trump are at it now, so I figure I got to get in the spaceship game now.
Right.
While they're at each other, bam! I'll come in from the back, make my own spaceship.
There you go. Yeah,
it's going to run off dreams and broken hearts, but I can do it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, dude, man, I'm so pumped just to see what continues to go, and I thank you for stopping by here.
I love it.
I've seen you for the last couple of days, like passing each other on the escalator, just like nonstop.
I know, just getting to give the old high fives on the way up and the way down.
Yep.
Well, I love you too, buddy, and I love what you've done. I love that you give everybody a platform, a place to play original music in Nashville. I try to do the same thing on a way smaller level, doing my little shows, and every now and then I get to come over and play at the listening room. But you turned it into a place that inspires people to listen to the songs, as opposed to just be like, come in and be a bar in the background. I mean, people are singing original songs everywhere in Nashville, but in the listening room, they're actually listening. Yeah. And to me, that's important as an artist. And I hope every songwriter and every singer that plays your place realizes how important that is and what you're doing for them. So I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Love you, dude.
Holla. Go to the listeningroom.com.
Go listen to Walmart Drip. Let's go. All right, David Neal in the house. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's so good to see you. Fellow Kennett, Missouri boy.
Yeah.
My mom and your parents grew up together, and
It's crazy.
just love running into you, man. It's been a while, but man, let's just dive in. Like, what is this week like for you?
Well, it's obviously changed, over the years. A little less hectic than it was, maybe 5-10 years ago. But it's a treat. I think it's one of those weeks where you always have a little anxiety leading up to it. But I guess as time's gone on, I'm like I said, a little less busy. So, which is good. I live about 40 minutes outside of town. So it's a little bit,
Yeah.
of an issue getting here and parking and finding everything. It seems like the security's a little bit more intense with every year. So, but it's fun, man. It's such I love getting to see all these young faces and stuff around. I just did my meet and greet, and, I don't necessarily know them or know their music, but just, seeing them and remember what it was like to be the new kid on the block, so to speak. So it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've had so much success, man. And, I want to talk about, both songwriting career and artist career. When you first moved to Nashville, what were you mostly focused on?
Well, I guess I was aware enough that I knew that I feel like it was really starting. I don't know that it's necessarily ever been not important for singers to be songwriters, but I feel like it was sort of starting to get really expected, for a singer to be active in writing their material. And so I wanted to do it. I feel like I'm probably more of a singer first, although I take the art of songwriting very serious. But it's something that, I've been fortunate to have publishing deals both record deals that I had where they really supported me writing for myself. I always say I'd be very terrible writing for another person, just from the standpoint of it's hard for me to remove my personal, this personal side from the songs. And so I guess if somebody had the same experience as I did, a song might fit them. But I started out obviously writing solo a lot. And then of course I got thrown to the wolves, and you're co-writing all the time. And when I signed with Carnival Music, almost 20 years ago, Frank Liddell, who owns Carnival, was always very adamant that you don't ever need to lose sight of writing alone. And I was sort of okay, whatever. And I of course never did until COVID, and then you were sort of forced. And then I just sort of refell in love with it, I felt like co-writing is so easy to sort of have that crutch and be I can use somebody else to throw the ideas off of versus, when you're writing by yourself, it's obviously all the pressure's on you. And so I feel like, if I had to pick, I'd probably say I'm a better singer than I am a songwriter, but I enjoy both very much. And I take a lot of pride in the songs I've recorded and written, obviously.
Yeah. Love that, man. Let's talk about Pacing the Cage, your newest release that just came out in March.
It was very random. I remember getting a call that I was going to have lunch with this guy who had written an article in Vanity Fair magazine about this prisoner exchange, and it was one of those things where you said yes to something, and then you show up and you're or you're on the way there and you're trying to figure, okay, why am I associated here? Or what do I, and it was just a guy from very interesting story. But he had sort of, I think through COVID, had found my music and had become a fan of mine, and just was sort of interested in what I was doing. And then he, I think, probably had this in the back of his mind, but once we sort of got to know each other a little bit, he proposed the idea of singing this particular song that was featured at more or less, I guess, the peak scene in this documentary that's not been released yet. But it's about a Venezuelan prisoner exchange, and obviously something I've never done before. Like I've sang on a soundtrack before, but it was not in the movie. It was that period of my career where it was so insane that I honestly don't even remember doing it. Yeah. But this was just so different. You know, it's a song that I had a lot of respect for, but it was probably something that I, you know, had it not been brought to me, I would have probably never recorded, probably never run across it. But it was an awesome opportunity. It was something I'd never done before. So I was super excited about the challenge. It's a very well-known song, ironically. That just goes to show how clueless I am. But it was super neat. I mean, I literally rode off the bus. I had not even showered. And I ended up singing it. We recorded it literally like right there, like 10:30 in the morning. It was insane. Like, you know, that was like the only time we could do it. It was a super big rush. So it was a lot of like pressure that I hadn't really felt in a long time. Of just like, hey, like we have to do this. We have to do it right now. Or it'll never happen. And walk in the studio in East Nashville, and Frank Liddell had gotten to produce it, and then the producers of the documentary were there. I wasn't aware that they were going to be there, so I walk in the studio. I'm like, okay. I was already nervous, and now like I'm super nervous. But it was super cool, and you know, it's really hard to explain. I gotta admit, like I felt like by now the documentary would have been released. Obviously, I had no control in that. Yeah. I did go to South by Southwest and went to a screen of it. It's super cool. I mean, it's like you know, I'm a big sports fan, and sports and music are pretty much my main interest in my family, obviously. And so this is a documentary about something that's so unlike anything I've ever participated in or even knew existed. And but it's super fascinating, you know. So it was a cool opportunity, and I've been working on the first, I guess, full-length record that I've done in several years, and it was sort of something to put out, like while we tidy that up and finish that up and figure out what we're going to do with that.
Yeah, man, what a great story. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's go back. I got to dive into whatever she's got.
All right.
Talk to me about that song. Obviously, with what we do at the Listening Room and the Stories Behind the Songs podcast, we just love diving into the lyrics and the story behind. So, huge hit for you. Great song. Tell me the story behind that one.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't write it.
But what was it when you heard that song that you were like, okay, this resonates with me. I've got to cut this.
Well, I'll try to make it brief. It's a little bit of a long story. You know, I tell people all the time, like, had that song come across 6 months prior or even maybe 6 months after, I probably wouldn't have not recorded it. I had gone through a lot of like personal stuff, the previous year, and for really the first time really in my career, I sort of was comfortable in my own skin personally. And so, I'd really was, I think, just ready to do something that wasn't so serious and so like personal to me. And so I was literally leaving a co-write down, on Music Row. And this is a true story. I had Sprint at the time, and my wife and I lived in Franklin, just off the square. And so that's a, 35, 40-minute drive. And so I was like, about to get on the interstate, and I got this email with this song, and I just saw the title, and I was like, really? I was about to start making a record, and, I see the title, and I'm just like, come on, man, this is all you're giving me. I wasn't super impressed. And so I hit download, and it literally took the entire drive to download. So over that, I'm looking at it. Obviously, you're not supposed to do that while you're driving. This is a long time ago. Not that you were probably supposed to do it then, and it was just taking forever. So the suspense of God, this better be great, And so it finally, I'll never forget, it finally downloads as I'm driving through the square of Franklin. And it was a great demo. I can't remember if Jimmy Robbins was singing the demo. I actually can't remember who was singing it. I know him and John Knight wrote it. And I was like, wow, like I don't hate that. Like I was really anticipating not liking it just because the title was so basic. And so I ran in our house and I put it on repeat with this Bluetooth speaker, and I jumped in the shower. And I got out of the shower, and when I got out of the shower, I saw my wife in a living room, and she was just like kind of not all out dancing, but like moving to, grooving to this way into this song. And this is a true story. Like I had made 2 records, countless demos, and I just had this revelation of like, this is the first time I think I've ever seen my wife like dance remotely to one of my songs. Wow. And so from that moment forward, like, it was so different than really anything I'd ever done. And so I wasn't exactly sure. There were a lot of rumors that Keith Urban was going to cut it that I found out later. And so I sort of had to like decide. They were putting the pressure on me. And I remember my wife constantly asking Frank, like, are you surely going to cut the Blue Jeans song? Really? Like and which is hilarious because now my kids, that's what they call it. Yeah. And I'm like, it says the title several times, but like, that's what everybody that hears it thinks of it. So it obviously changed my life. And I'll never forget my wife. We were celebrating my wife's 30th birthday at, what's the Italian restaurant on? It was like a private room somewhere off West End, and Luke Bryan happened to be there, and it just had come out. But it was like probably none of my songs ever moved fast, but it was definitely like the most ads and like the fastest mine had like started ever. Yeah. And Luke Bryan was at this dinner. His wife and my wife are friends, and I'd known Luke for a long time. But he looked at me and he was like, "Dude, man, that song of yours, that's a big hit song." And I was like, of course, I was sort of like, well, I've had a couple of hits before. Like "Let It Rain" had been a number 1, "Red Light" was top 10 and stuff. And he was like, "No, like there's a difference. Like this one's gonna be a different one." And I obviously had zero like clue what he was talking about. But I'll never forget, like, as soon as that thing got, like, in a top 40, top 30, like, it was like, people would be in the audience and they didn't even really know the words. You could tell, like, I read their lips and I'm like, y'all are not really singing the right stuff, but, like, it was just in their head, Yeah. And so it just changed my life. It just introduced, obviously, so many more people to me. And, without a doubt, like, the biggest song of my career commercially. And, it was just the absolute perfect timing. I mean, like I said, if it had been 6 months prior or 6 months after it, I'd have probably just been in a completely different headspace. But for whatever reason, at that point in time, I was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, man. Great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I want to touch a little bit. I just think it's, the Kennett connection and, just growing up, riding my bike all over, what do you think it is about Kennett, Missouri? That we've got, Trent, Cheryl, Doug Howard, Noel. I mean, there's just all this talent that's come out of this small town in the Boot Hill. That's just always blown my mind. I mean, friends with everybody there. And Doug Howard's the reason that I moved to Nashville, and just, what do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I'm going to sound biased, like I'm bragging on my family, but I feel like my father definitely played a huge role. My father's a band director. Cheryl and Doug, I think, were in his first class ever. Can't remember, it was like 79 or 80, somewhere around there. And so somebody asked me, I get asked that all the time, but somebody asked me that the other day. I can't even remember. Somebody was across the country and they were like in line for something, and the people behind them were from Kennett. And whoever told me the story was like, oh, I know somebody from Kennett. And they were like, oh, let me guess. And they said Cheryl first and then just worked their way down. And then the people just started like bragging about my dad and stuff. And, and then Verez Sexton was the choral director there. And, my father was obviously a huge influence on me. But when I was a freshman, my father, left and went to like another school about 35 minutes away, sort of. I feel like, I'm sure you got a little bit more money, but more or less to just sort of let me breathe, I think. And that was the point where like I stopped taking band and focused on singing. And I think he probably could read through the tea leaves and knew that I was headed that direction. But for whatever reason, like where I grew up, like it was just super cool and like normal for like everybody to be. Back in the, when I was a kid, you could do both, like choir and band. And really, I think when I got in like middle school, junior high, like it started because they were requiring, more specific classes. It became harder to do both. But man, I bet I have like 30 Instagram friends of like my, my dad's former students, and I'll be in the most random place and my dad will text me and be like, so-and-so, one of my students from 1989 is coming to your show tonight. And I'll be in like Wisconsin. I'm like, how in the world did they end up here? But it wasn't until I got in high school and started doing like choir competitions where I would go to these places. And this is, I hate to say it's not very PC, but I'm like, where are the football players for these other high schools? It was like that. It was the quote unquote, like the band nerds and the choir nerds. And I just never experienced that before. And so I feel like, I don't know how they did it, but they somehow planted a seed early on where I think they both rotated all the time about who was like, the school's favorite teacher, they would vote on stuff like that. And they just found a way to like make it cool and fun, and everyone wanted to be a part of it. And it, it was just, I'll never forget. Like even knowing that, I remember when I tried out, I wasn't going to try out for 6th grade choir. And because my best friend, who's still my best friend, who still lives in Kennett today, wasn't going to be in it. And so I was like, well, it must not be cool. And the choir director, Miss Sexton, came into the 6th grade classroom, pulled me and him out, and made us go in this little room and like try out. And I'm looking at him like, I thought you weren't going to try out. And he's like, I'm not. I don't know why I'm here. And she was like, yes, you both are. And she sort of like forced him to be in it so that I would do it. And then it was like, the classic case of once you're in here and you sort of like, you find out like, oh, I think I'm kind of good at this. Yeah. Then you obviously, want to do it a little bit better and a little bit more. And then I just, it's a classic case, I'm sure, why anybody, performs. It's just like once you get on stage and you hear applause, you're just like, okay, this is kind of addicting.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last question. I'll always love asking this. If, with all the success you've had, if you can go back to Kennett, to 8-year-old David, what advice would you give yourself to you today?
Wow, man. 8-year-old David. I mean, as you know, like I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, you don't know, because my twins are 9. So I'm trying to put myself in their frame of mind. Like I tell my son this, you're talking about riding a bike. Like I tell my son that like I used to ride my bike from like where we lived on like the west side of town. I would drive all the way on the other side of town, and like nobody would freak out about it. Like I'd cross like 4 lanes. Like it was not a big deal at all. And I won't let him go like the street behind me. And we live in like a secluded like neighborhood. I'm just like, and he just looks at me like I'm talking in Spanish, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know like why my parents allowed me to do it, but it was just sort of this magical place, and magical time. But, 8-year-old, I was square focused on, all I loved was sports. I was playing the drums then and with my father at different stuff. So I was, a little music based, but I would have just said, you know, maybe open yourself up to maybe a little bit more than, you know, don't be so fixated on like, this is what you have to do. But like, I just, you know, growing up, I didn't know like I didn't know, you know, like I remember my wife and I took my wife to Boston one time and we went and walked around Harvard and I was like, this is like, I just thought when people said this, it was like a fake place. Like Harvard was like, that wasn't real. Like I didn't know, like I didn't know anybody that ever went outside of college, like an hour away, you know? So it was just so foreign. And so that was the one sort of really difficult thing for me when I left Kennett was just like, wow, there's like a world out here. And so I feel like I was so close-minded, but sort of forced to be that way. But that's really what I try to tell my kids now. It's just like, hey, anything, the world is your oyster. Like you can do, you know, you used to hear all the people say like, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. But it was sort of like you only knew what you saw. Yeah. And we never went on vacation. So St. Louis for a Cardinals game was like all we left town for. Yeah. So I would just say like, hey, you know, chill out, you know, get your feet wet in different sort of things, you know, practice piano more, you know, focus a little bit more on, you know, that and be patient and not be so worried, you know, because I was so worried about like, is this cool? Or like, is this people going to laugh at me if I do this? You know, all I wanted to do was play sports. And so I was so like, I wasn't a great student. And so I just said, hey man, like just relax, man. You can do more than just what you're limiting yourself at right now. So
love it.
Thank you.
Well, David, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah, it's always great to run into you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Anytime. Thank you.
Caleb Lee Hutchinson in the house, CMA Fest 2025. How you doing, brother?
I am blessed to be alive, blessed to be here talking with you, blessed to be at CMA Fest. Man.
Yeah, man. So you've done CMA Fest a while back, but this is your first time back in a while. And what does that mean to you? Man,
it's really cool. You know, the first CMA Fest I ever did was 2019. And I think it was just, you know, it's just a little bright-eyed, bushy-tailed boy with all the hopes and dreams of the world in front of me. And I feel like now I'm a little older and have got to be around town, and it's just cool. You know, I feel like I'm more myself this go around. Hopefully, as we age, we become more of ourselves. And so it's fun. You know, I got all these songs I haven't got to play for folks at the CMA Fest, and it's cool to get to bring it to them.
What's the thing this year that you're most excited about?
Ooh, well, look, I'm not like sponsored or anything, so if you need to clip this out, but I will say I'm in a fresh new pair of boots. And the fact that it's singing, just making noise out of your mouth and beating a wooden box can bring you boots.
That's right.
I don't think I need like payment in cash anymore.
Yeah.
I just need a good boot rack.
That's right.
Start racking them up, you know?
Yeah. Man, let's dive into Southern Galactic debut album. What's the inspiration behind that?
Man, it was, you know, I spent so many years here in town listening to all the great songwriters put out great songs, and I got to be very frustrated with how good everybody is. And I felt like, man, I don't have this kind of writing material. And then life decided to just dump some writing material on me. So it was really kind of fun and cathartic and everything else writing Southern Galactic. And I got to work with my producer, Titanic Sinclair, who's been like a hero of mine for years. And yeah, it was great. We got to write really sad, sentimental songs, got to write some fun, goofy drinking songs. And, you know, it's kind of both sides of the pendulum there. Yeah. So got to swing all around it.
Yeah. Do you have do you have a song on the album that you're most proud of?
Ooh. I would say of any of them, I think Rodeo Clown's probably the one I'm most proud of. It was just one I wrote by myself, and I didn't know if it was good or not. And I was kind of nervous, and I was hanging out with one of my best friends, great songwriter, Mr. Garrett Jacobs. And we were just sitting on the back porch playing guitar. I'm like, I'm just going to play it and see if he likes it. I started playing it, and he's like, bro. And he started memoing because he thought I was coming up with it on the spot. I was like, oh, that's just something I wrote. I don't know if it's good. And he's like, it's good. Put it out. So, you got to have the friends there to push you sometimes.
Where'd the song come from?
I think it's kind of cliche. Everyone that moves here and loses their mind and freaks out. And it's a worrisome endeavor of a life. And I think, I was getting into a point where I just kind of felt down about like myself and about the town and felt like it was just, this isn't going to work out for me. I'm not one of those people that it works out for. And I would see other people be successful, and I started to just like get kind of down and crappy about it.
Yeah.
And then, go to therapy. And I realized like, man, we're all doing the same thing, and everybody's just trying to like do this. I can't hate on anybody.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. There's nothing hard about Nashville. What
You're
do
right,
you mean?
It's easy. Yeah. It's super easy.
Man, well, it's a great song and great album. And there's rumors you've got some new music coming out soon.
Yes.
So what can you tell me about that?
It's I'm very, very excited about the tunes we've got coming out. I'm going to say that I can't give away so much because, I can't have the paparazzi waiting for me outside of here. But no, it was we've tracked some new music recently. It's been the most fun and exciting that songwriting's been ever. And I wake up every day and I work with people that it's silly that I get to know them, call them friends, call them peers. Like truly, it's if me at 14 or whatever could see me now, I'm the most successful person ever. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that like keeps me going. I get to work with people I love and get to make stuff that excites me. And I'm really, really pumped about the new record.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. Do you have a date that it's coming out?
No official date.
Okay.
But we're going to be rolling out things. Last year I kind of...
You can tell me when we cut the mics off.
Yeah. The paps are always watching.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, man, I know it's a crazy busy week for you, and I appreciate you stopping by. I think it's really special. You got your team out here and your family hanging out with you. You mentioned a while ago an age, but I always ask this question to end it up. If you could go back to 8-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself today?
I don't think I would give myself any advice. I don't think I'm smart enough now to know if anything that I currently don't like I will appreciate later. So my best tool is that I'm painfully aware that I know nothing. But everything that's led me here has led me here. Yeah. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. Great answer, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Appreciate it. And good luck. We'll keep watching, and can't wait to see all the success that's coming your way, man.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. All right, here we are. CMA 2025, LANCO in the house. How you guys doing?
We are good.
We're good.
Yeah, it's CMA Fest. It's awesome.
Man, I want to talk about We're Gonna Make It tour. You recently wrapped headlining that. Tell me about what made this tour different than previous tours.
Well, we brought a big yellow chair on the road, and so that's the biggest prop we've ever brought out.
I knew this interview was going to be a lot of fun. We're already starting off that way.
Yeah,
it might be the first prop,
non-stage prop. Yeah.
We had that duck, inflatable duck.
Yeah, I used to crowd surf on inflatable duck. I did not crowd surf on this chair because it's just way too heavy. But no, we really did that. So the album cover is actually a giant yellow chair, which is. It started in a music video for Where I Belong, and then that chair just continued to make an appearance in our music videos. It's kind of an Easter egg. So we put it on the album cover and then thought, why not take it out on the road?
I love it. Yeah. What was the best part of being on the road?
Best part of being on the road is always honestly just, we love writing and we love the studio and that's, where the magic happens, all that stuff. But the reality is the most fun is when you take those songs, you take that music and you take this dream that you had in your mind, you take it out to the people and you see them singing along. And these, our songs, they mean a lot to us. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but when we write, we're not just trying to write a hit or a summer anthem. We're trying, okay, what have we been going through? What's our life right now? What are we struggling with or what are we happy about? And so when we put our music out, it's really fun to go on the road. And when you play those songs, you see people singing along, you realize that they're going through the same thing that you're going through, and they resonate with that. And so that's always, to me, the most special thing about going on the road.
I love that. Obviously, what we do at the Listening Room and the Stories Behind the Songs podcast is all about that. It's all about the stories and the music. Let's dive into We Grew Up Together and take me into the story behind that song. Where did the inspiration come from? What is it?
Yeah. So that song, we wrote that song with a buddy of ours who's an artist. His name's Corey Asbury. And, you know, we were kind of done with the record, but he's a buddy of ours and we've been meaning to write for a long time. So he came over to hang out and we started writing. We actually wrote, we tried to start a few other songs, and they were okay songs. It just wasn't anything that was going to take a place of anything on the record. So we kind of started talking about our lives, and he has kids, and a big development since our first album is that 4 out of 5 of us have kids now. But his kid, he's our age, but his kid, his oldest, is like a teenager, like 16 or something like that. And so I commented like, oh, you started earlier than we did. And he threw out, he's like, yeah, man, you know, I was young and we kind of grew up together. And so when someone says something like that, and what was interesting is that although we'd had kids at different times in our lives, I felt that way too. I felt like when I had my kid, I'm even now still growing up with my kid, and it's a shared experience. So I was like, all right, we got to write that. And so, yeah, we wrote it that day, and then he jumped on the vocal and sang it with us. It's our first real collab that we've ever done and put out ourselves. So, yeah.
When you guys all write together, what comes first? The melody? The lyric, the idea?
I would say that it's a combination. It just kind of depends on, honestly, what happens, what the situation is. We go to especially for this album, we did a lot of writing at Jared's studio he's got, and so sometimes one of us would have an idea that we'd bring to the table. Like Brandon said, sometimes we'll just happen upon an idea in a conversation. Sometimes we'd show up and Jared and Tripp were already there working on some kind of musical idea, and we'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Anyone have an idea that we could put over this?" And so it's just all the above.
Let's go back to your sophomore album. We're Gonna Make It. What song are you guys the most proud of on that album?
Yeah, they're all amazing. I'm proud of all of them.
Yes, is the answer.
Like, what is your favorite kid?
Yeah. Well, I can answer that one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If you ever see this one day, because it'll be on the internet forever. No, I think I really am. There's a few that I could say that stand out a little more than some of the others, but I'll just start with the title track, which is We're Gonna Make It. And that was the last song, second to last song, but it was in the last round of recording for this album. And you know, our first album came out 7 years ago, so it's been 7 years in between album 1 and 2, and in that time we've gone through everything from just high mountaintops where literally life cannot get any better as far as, you know, anyone's concerned, and also just the lowest valley that life has to offer, from real hardships, real life stuff, you know, sickness and death and relationships falling out and just these things that happen in life. But through it all, in those valleys, we've always had a mantra of, you know, we're going to make it. We're going to make it through this valley, and we're going to be stronger because of it. And we're going to make it to that other hilltop. And it's really been our theme, and it's the central theme of the album for sure.
Yeah.
A song that I'm most proud about on the album is actually one that, it's funny, I didn't write it. It's actually a song that Brandon and Tripp wrote called Memories We Didn't Know. And the reason why I'm so proud of it is because we've actually recorded that song before, and it was on an album that was never able to get released. Yeah. And so personally, it's like just kind of like, you know, something I'm like, oh, I'm glad that we made it. I'm glad that we got to release this song and this record in a way that we wanted to.
I would say I really like, we have a song, it's the last song on the record called Nothing That You Can Do. We kind of sat down, we had like 45 minutes left in the studio. I was like, let's do a couple takes and just see what we can get, where we can get with this. And it came out like this kind of cool folk sounding song. And I really love the message of the song. So I would say that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah. And that was going to be mine too. I agree. The recording process of that one was a little different. I think we weren't overthinking it as much. It was just like, everybody get in, let's play some at the same time, not as many overdubs and whatnot. And just because of the way that came together, it feels special. You know, I really like recording.
Yeah, I think mine is kind of with Brandon. We're Gonna Make It. That song means a whole lot to me and my family individually. And when you write a song like that, you see instantly when we started playing that song out, you see everybody's going through something and everybody's there with you. And it was one of the most encouraging songs I think we've ever put out. So
yeah, love it, man. That's awesome. What's next? What do fans not know that's coming? I like that chuckle.
Whatever they don't know, we don't know either. No, I mean, we're touring this whole year. We're doing a lot of festivals and stuff like that. And we are setting up a tour for the top of next year that we're really excited about, that we haven't technically announced, but just we're literally, as we speak, working on it right now and putting the details together. And I know it's going to be a great tour and some surprise collaborations and stuff. And so that's going to be fun. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of, frankly, this is always actually a weird season for artists. I don't know if artists really talk about it, but you put so much work into writing and recording. You go out and tour. The reality is now it's out, and it's in the hands of the fans. And it's kind of, their demand for it is kind of what demands you going out and playing it and touring it. So now it's out there, and I'm just as excited as the fans are to see, kind of what happens next with this album.
Yeah, love it. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I know this is a crazy, fun, wild week, and especially with, Mother Nature that brings us all around. So I do have a question that I love ending with. If you guys could go back to 8-year-old you with everything that you've gone through, what advice would you give yourself today?
8-year-old.
Invest in Apple or Tesla.
You'd say, let's invest.
I don't know if I want to butterfly effect it all, but just a little nugget.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny because we actually have a song on our album called "If I Could Have a Beer with Younger Me." And it's kind of that idea if you could talk to your younger self. 8-year-old, though, is a little too young to have a beer with. I would probably tell 8-year-old me, just be nice to mom and dad as you grow up. Just be nice.
I need my 7-year-old to get that advice right now.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
I think that I would tell, actually, I don't think 8-year-old me has started playing guitar yet, but 10-year-old me would have just been so amazed and thankful for all the things that I've gotten to do with music. So I would just tell him, hey, you're going to get these things one day. Slow down and enjoy it. And just enjoy it.
Let's see. What would I tell 8-year-old me? I know I had two people to think about this, but I was kind of listening to their answers, trying to see what I wanted to say.
To think ahead.
Yeah. I would probably tell 8-year-old me, similar advice, Chandler, just try to enjoy all the little things you're going to do in life. Try to enjoy that moment because everything moves so quick, from, before you know it, you play your last football game or your last basketball game, or you hang out with your friends the last time at a farm or something. It all goes away. So, not to say that it's sad because you find new things to do, but just enjoy the little moments that you're in while you're in them.
Yeah, I think it's something similar with what they kind of said. I was thinking I think it's a John Mayer quote. And at one point he had said, when you're a kid, you're playing guitar in your bedroom, you're closing your eyes, you're imagining you're up on stage. It's in front of thousands of people. Then by the time you're on that stage, you're closing your eyes and imagining you're back in that bedroom. And I think it's not forget that work was just as important as what these big important things seem like it is, And that'd be hard to conceptualize as an 8-year-old, but it would be nice if I could have.
Yeah, man, that's so true. Love it. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm personally a big fan. Love your music, and it was just great to hang and talk to you a little bit. So
yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Sennheiser microphones. When we first started this podcast, we were using some older microphones, and Sennheiser came in and sponsored us and gave us some MK4s and 914s. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's made all of the difference in the world. We love these microphones. We use them at the listening room as well. And I just can't say enough great things about them. Go check out Sennheiser.com. If you are into music in any way, their microphones are hands down the best on the planet. Go check them out, Sennheiser.com. And thank you, Sennheiser, for the support and the sponsorship. We love y'all. Brei Carter here at CMA Fest. How are you?
I am absolutely amazing, and I'm happy to be here.
You look amazing. I love this outfit.
Thank you. I got to represent. Hey.
You are. And you're an ambassador this year. I just heard that.
I am a CMA ambassador. Also, I'm an ambassador for Horses for Mental Health.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to dive in. Your blend of traditional country music with gospel and soul influence. It's so unique and so beautiful.
Thank you.
Did you know growing up that's what you wanted to do? Like, how did you blend all of this together?
You know what? I remember I go back when I was a little girl, unfortunately, when my parents divorced in California. I was on stage when we lived in LA, and I'm singing. And I think it was birthed at that point in time, but I never truly found my voice because we moved back home to Louisiana, and I was in the gospel choir at church. I didn't find my voice because I come from a long line of singers, and I was just a little awkward at the time. And back in 2014, when my biological father passed away, it just hit home. And it's just like, it's now or never. And I did it. But I remember my mom was saying, I went through a little stint like in junior high and right before high school saying, I want to do country music. I want to do it because I've always been a lover of these cowgirl boots.
Yeah.
And things have come full circle now where I'm living my dream.
I love that.
Thank you.
Let's dive into some songwriting.
Let's do it.
And some stories behind the songs. Obviously, at the Listening Room and the Stories Behind the Songs podcast, that's what we love to hear about. So talk to me about Sun Still Shine. Where did that song come from?
Wow. You know what? I can't take credit for writing that particular song. That song was pitched to me, but the moment I heard it, I'm like, wow. Who was in my head? Who wrote my story?
Yeah.
Because that's what diving into the song is about. You're writing your story or someone else's. So someone happened to write my story for me. And it's just, I knew I had to record it because it's just a testament that breakup is hard. But you know what? At the end of the day, life goes on and the sun is still going to shine no matter what. So you know what? Put your big girl pants on, your shoes on, and you kick your boots up and keep it moving and just have a positive outlook and keep living life. And that's what Sun is Still Shining is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing the take on when you're not part of the songwriting process, but when you hear that song and it just grabs you
For
in
sure.
a way that you're like, okay, I have to have this.
Definitely.
Do you remember where you were when you first heard it?
I was actually driving in my car. And someone's like, hey, I got some songs, I know you write your own songs and what have you. Are you open? And I'm like, yeah, I'm open. And I heard it and I'm like, oh my goodness. I literally had it on repeat, the demo. And I'm like, no, this song is mine. So it's just, when you know. And I pray to God that I get out of my own way. So although I'm a songwriter, I'm not selfish in the fact that I think that I'm the only one that can write a song for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, if it's a good song, send it my way. And if it pulls on my heartstrings and I pray about it and it's right, it's my song.
Yeah. I love that. What's the story behind Cake and Eat It Too?
Oh my goodness. Everybody knows about that. And me and my brother Electro Horse, we did that song, and it was just about unfortunately, sometimes there are family dynamics where mothers don't get along with their sons, girlfriends and what have you. And there's kind of rift in relationships, and the guy or the girl wants to, as they say, the song says it all, cake and eat it too. They want to do what they want to do. They want to have you, and they may want to have a little side piece. And it's just like, no, you want your cake and eat it too? That's not right. Yeah. I mean, the cruelty is in the taste of you thinking that you could do that. So it just brought home. Now that was my story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Was that one that came out quick?
Yeah, it came out very quick.
Yeah. Yeah. What's next? What do you have going on right now?
Oh my goodness. I love the line dancing. Right now my big thing.
Let's go. Come on.
Let's go. It is about that. I got Boots Get to Talking, and I bring home some of Louisiana in that.
Yeah.
And I give a little bit of singing, I get a little bit of rapping, and I give a little bit of belting. You get kind of everything in that. But coming up next is continued heartfelt music. I got a collaboration coming out with Electro Horse and Cupid the Line Dance King. The biggest thing that I'm super excited about is I have a song called The Country Lives in Me. That takes you back down the road of those traditional roots too. You still got to have that soul, because that's a part of me, country soul.
Yeah.
And it's going to take you on the journey of me growing up, climbing mimosa trees and, dragonflies, being a kid, catching them and just being out in fields and what have you. And just, it takes you back to, the childhood days when you grew up, but then where you are as an adult, no matter where you go in life, you still go back to home, wherever and whatever home was, it's still in you no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
Thank you.
Where does your faith play a part in what you do every day? Everything
is about my faith. I tell people I'm not perfect, but I'm a God lover.
Yeah.
My faith is everything. God is my source. I don't look for man for my source. Man can say no, but if God wills it to be, it's to be.
Amen.
So, they say, someone asked earlier, they say Nashville starts with an N. N says no. It's a no town. It's a no town. I don't care about it being a no town. When you know who you are and who you belong to, it doesn't matter who says no. When God says yes, it's going to be yes.
Yeah.
So I just know my time is coming in God's time. And my faith is everything.
Yeah. I love that. And I love how open you are about it.
For sure.
It's just, love it so much.
Thank you. Definitely. I tell people, you know what? I don't try to put it on anyone, but I'm not going to shy away from who it is. It's who I am. Yep. And you like it or you don't. You take it or you leave it.
That's right. I'm the same way. Yep. All right. I love asking this question.
Okay.
I always end with this. So if you could go back to Louisiana, were you 8 in Louisiana or were you still in California?
No, when I first got on stage, I was in California.
Okay.
When I was 8, I was in Louisiana.
Okay. If you can go back to Louisiana to 8-year-old Brei, what advice would you give yourself today?
Don't be afraid. The world is big and the world can be very scary. Continue to move forward. Know that you're enough and stand on that and you will make it through and you'll see the light someday.
You're not a songwriter at all. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know, like I said, I know it's a busy week, and I'm so thankful that you took some time to sit down with us and share a little bit of your story, and can't wait to just keep watching what's coming up. It's gonna be awesome.
Me too. Sending hearts and love to you guys. The listening room, it's amazing. You guys are doing great things, and I'm honored, honestly, to be here with you all.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Give
you.
me a hug. Come on.
Woo!
All right, Dave Wilbert, how are you, man?
Oh, any better than I be twins.
There you go.
Thanks for having me.
CMA Fest. This is your first CMA Fest.
First CMA Fest. I always told myself I would not come down here unless cordially invited by the listening room.
There you go.
That's why I'm here.
I love it, man. Well, you're from small town Indiana.
Uh-huh.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a songwriter and an artist?
I didn't. When I first, as a kid, I had three brothers, 2 older and 1 younger. So I thought for sure I was going to be a professional athlete or professional rock thrower, something like that. Grew up in a small town, North Vernon, Indiana. And, so my days consisted of playing tag till dark, hide and seek.
Yeah.
Of course, when I got older, we played ball, any kind of ball you could play, football, baseball, basketball. So as a kid, and then I thought, well, I may be a professional. I love to fish, so I think I may be a professional fisherman. That I used to watch Bill Dance and Babe Winkleman, all those guys on Saturday morning. And I thought, man, that's life, and anyway, so the music. My parents and my neighbors said, even when I was a little bitty feller, that I'd be singing all the time, And I grew up in a household where music was playing all the time. I mean, I can remember when my parents, I went with them to Greenwood, Indiana, which is a suburb south of Indianapolis, when they picked up a stereo system. And they put the stereo system in their Now I kind of think it's weird. It was in their bedroom. But at the time, I was just excited because they'd be playing music all the time, you know, and I'd be hearing it. And so I was exposed to everything from ABBA to Alabama, you know. Grew up hearing Dolly Parton to, you know, and my older brothers, I was hearing Van Halen and Charlie Daniels and Hank Williams Jr., you know. So
all across the board.
So I had a very eclectic childhood. I didn't really know music was my thing. And I just, you know, and then my dad, who was a guidance counselor in high school, when I was coming out of middle school, he put me into freshman chorus choir. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be in choir. I'm like a stud athlete. What are you doing to me? And lo and behold, he had foresight, and he put me in there, and he said, no, you're going into choir. And God rest his soul. And also my choir director, Stephen Jones, at the time, he had seen something in me. And next thing I know, I got the bug early and started singing all the time, and found out that it hurts a lot less than playing football too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it sure does. Growing up with all the different types of music around, what do you think was your biggest influence?
You know, I was in Indiana. I think it's a state law that every 5-10 minutes a Mellencamp song has to be played on the radio. So Mellencamp was a heavy influence on me as a kid. And then, you know, but when I first heard, you know, it took a heartbreak it took a heartbreak, to be honest with, for me to kind of dig deep into the country music, trying to find solace, if you will. So when that happened to me, I dug deep into Merle Haggard. You know, I found Hag, and I found a lot of comfort in his agony and pain, I guess. Misery and Gin was kind of my thing, you know, his song. And so Haggard for sure. You know, the early Garth Brooks stuff, you know. And then, of course, when you heard that, I started digging on, you know, Alan Jackson and Clint Black and that 89, 90 year where those guys came out, and Travis Tritt, Anymore. What a record. Man. Just knock you down. So all of it had an impact on me, man. I mean, you know, all that stuff. And at the same time, you know, I was hearing things like, you know, you know, Guns N' Roses and things like that, you know, some of those records still. So all, you know, I guess James Taylor was a big influence on me growing up. I had some buddies. We used to go drink beer and play ping pong on Friday and Saturday nights. I'm not advocating for any underage drinking, but we would sneak away and had a little place we could play ping pong, and it was James Taylor and Cat Stevens and Jimmy Buffett. So all that kind of folky country had a big influence on me as well. Kind of got away from the big hair and spandex, you know, that kind of left me in middle school, and I migrated towards, you know, the Conway Twitties and the, you know, the Storytellers and the Willie Nelsons of the world and Haggard and, you know, all those guys, along with that kind of folk style. And still to this day, you know, my music collection is fairly eclectic. It's not one thing, you know. I could listen to soul music for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then I'll find myself, you know, I want to get some hardcore Waylon like today, you know. I'm out planting beans, so I got Waylon going, you know. So
I love it. Well, speaking of music, I want to dive into your debut album. Comes out in just a couple weeks. Live from America. It's Saturday night. Tell me about that album.
Well, I think it's worth a Grammy or two.
There you go.
I mean, if I'm being honest, you know, and besides my rugged good looks, my humility is my second greatest quality. No, just teasing. But I do think it's a great, great album. And for me, it's I've been lucky to have great songwriters that I've known when I first moved to town. That's how I was brought here. And so I have a small community of really great, great songwriters. And so we keep a really high bar, or I try to keep a high bar of song quality. And the songs on this record, they're just stout. And I'm lucky. I have a couple that I wrote that I put on here. Early on in my career, I was intimidated to write with these guys because they were so good. And I was so not good. You know, I was afraid they wouldn't trust me as an artist you know what I mean? Like they saw a deficiency.
Yeah.
So I was real. I was intimidated. Now on stage, I wasn't intimidated, but writing, I had been. So it's really cool. This is it's a collection of songs that I would want to hear on the radio, or I would want to hear driving, in my truck.
Yeah.
And so that's where we, would I want to hear this song if I didn't sing it? If like George Strait cut it or anybody else, the Cody Johnsons of the world.
Yeah.
Is this something I'd listen to? And if it is, great, let's cut it. And that's what we have. It's 11 songs. It's it had some great players on it. It was co-produced by Eddie Blunt, myself, and Julian King. Julian King is a Grammy award-winning engineer here in town, working with big artists. So I got lucky and talked him into helping us. So it's a great record, man. Like I said, I think it should get 2, 3, maybe 4 Grammys.
I love it. I can't wait to hear it. June 20th, that comes out.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite song on that album?
I think one of the songs that Footprints on the Moon is a song that came to me via Eddie Blunt and a lady named Debbie Zimmerman. And if you go back to Blake Shelton's first song, Austin.
Yeah.
She's the lady that found that record.
Okay.
And gave it to Eddie, and Eddie gave it to Blake in the record label. So she found the song, and it's from a writer here in town. One of the writers is here in town, Kevin Barton. And forgive me, I'm going to butcher. Well, I'm not going to say his last. I'm not going to say the other guy because I'm not going to say it right. But Kevin is here in town, and by chance, he played this song for Debbie. She was there doing caregiving for him. He's severely handicapped.
Okay.
So she was there in a capacity as a caregiver.
Yeah.
And they get to talking. He's like, "Well, I'm a songwriter." And she's like, "Well, I used to plug songs and blah blah blah." And he played her the song and just knocked her out. And then when I heard it, I mean, it's one of those songs. It's so good. It's inspirational.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, I love songs that have some meat on the bone. We all love the fun party song and all that good stuff, but every now and again, you want to hear that song like Trace Atkins' Arlington. You remember that song?
Yeah.
That just really pulls at you.
Yep.
This is that. It's called Footprints on the Moon, man.
Man.
Just stay tuned for it. It's a monster.
Yeah.
It's a monster.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, man, I appreciate you coming down here and taking some time. I always end on this question.
Mm-hmm.
And I love always hearing the response. But if you could go back to 8-year-old you, with everything that you've done now and your debut album just about to come out, what advice would you give yourself today?
Play piano. I started playing piano here recently, and it's amazing how, I play guitar, and I'm a guitar chunker. I'm not a guitar player.
Yeah.
But I've played it long enough where I can get around on it and, fake most people out.
Yep.
But
that's
when
the way I play guitar too.
Yeah. But when I started playing piano, it's just melodies. I think I have a habit of playing the same stuff on a guitar. When I started playing piano, melodies changed for me, the way I heard things. And one of the songs I wrote that's on this record, it's called My One and Only. I wrote it on the piano, but I would have never written it the way I wrote it on a guitar, if that makes sense. So if I could go back in time, I started up, I took guitar lessons as a kid, but, it was with a Flying V electric guitar, and I wanted to shred, and that lasted about a week, and then it was time to go play sports. But if I could go back in time, playing piano and learning kind of the mastering the Nashville numbering system, that's what I do.
Great advice.
Yeah, man. Play piano.
Appreciate
or like
it.
Mellencamp said, play guitar.
Yeah. Dave Wilbert, appreciate you being down here,
My
man.
pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep watching. Can't wait to see what's next.
Well, I'm coming to the listening room.
All right.
Soon.
All right. Let's do it. Sounds good.
See you, brother.
We'll have to have some parties for all those Grammys you're gonna
Yeah.
win.
I mean, we need a case, I think. We're gonna have to get like a case bill.
Definitely. All right, man. All right, Connor Smith, how you doing, dude?
Good, man. It's good to finally meet you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. I know this is a crazy time of year for everybody, CMA Fest, but what is it like for you, man? I know you're kind of piling it all into a day.
Yeah. I mean, CMA Fest always holds a special place in my heart. For one, it's the best country music festival, just in terms of like the fans are so diehard.
Yeah.
Because you'll go play these awesome festivals that are massive deals, but not everybody's there. They're just there for the event.
Yeah.
Whereas CMA Fest, man, they're here to country music, see all of their artists. They know every song. So that's cool. The other thing is I grew up in Nashville from Franklin. So I would come up here in high school and we'd all, hang out every night at the stadium and just like a high school, party essentially. And then, so now to be a part of the lineup, get to play, just did Riverfront today. It's one of those marker moments for me to see growth, because you'll see more people show up every time.
Yeah.
But also just kind of how far the dreams come from being that kid at 16, watching Luke Combs on that stage and then to now be a part of it.
Yeah. I love it. Did you know that you wanted to do this for a long time?
Yeah, man, this was always the thing. I mean, from 6 years old, you could ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I would have said not country artist, but I want to be a songwriter. So it's really about songwriting for me. I just wanted to write songs, tell stories. And I grew up around writers a little bit. Like, your next door neighbor would be a songwriter. And my first girlfriend, her dad was a songwriter, just like little stuff like that. And I saw that not only is that a job that can pay the bills, but if you do it really well, it can really pay the bills. And I was like, oh, this seems like a great job idea. And so ever since I was 6, I was writing songs every day, man. And it was always a dream. So somewhere along the way, people were like, hey, you can go ahead and sing them if you want. And so we started, putting out songs as an artist. And it's been cool to watch it happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely crushing it, man. I want to dive in, obviously, what we do at the Listening Room and the Stories Behind the Songs podcast, like diving into the lyrics and the songs.
Well, I'll tell you this, even before you get going, like whenever someone's coming to Nashville and they ask me what they should do, what should they see, I always say, like, go to the Listening Room, skip Broadway, go to the Listening Room, hear the stories behind the songs. There's something so special and unique about a songwriter's night, about hearing the songwriters tell the stories. And it's my favorite thing to do, like any sort of performing, doing a songwriter's round like that, where you really get to dive in. They're so attentive and listening, and you get to tell stories. So every time I've gotten to play at the Listening Room, it's really special for me. And so I love what you guys are doing, what y'all stand for, and just the fixture you guys have become in Nashville too.
Well, that means a lot, man.
Yeah,
appreciate that. Let's dive into Country in the Clouds. That's a very cool collab that you did, and I want to know how that came apart. I know you didn't write that song, but the way that came out and.
Well, last time I played that song live with Dylan was at the Listening Room.
Really?
We did it together a couple weeks after it came out. He happened to have a day there, and I was back in town, so I hopped up with him. But Dylan is like is my best friend, and we have just really created a bond through songwriting and through just kind of this very unique journey we're both on together. And so we've been best friends for the last few years, and then over the last couple of years, we've always talked about doing a song together, and we always knew we'd do one eventually, but we were just waiting on the right song. It's a lot harder than you think to find a great, collab song or a duet song, especially two guys, And he wrote this song, sent it over to me. We were playing a thing together. He wrote it that night with his guitar player, the first verse and chorus, and he sent it over acoustic, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. And he was like, you want to help me finish it? I just never got around to it. And then he ended up finishing with some other guys, sent me like the produced demo. And I was like, this sounds like a smash. Like I totally whiffed on the song, to begin with. But once I heard that thing produced and kind of saw the rootsiness of it, I was like, dude, this song is special. So I threw my vocal on it immediately, and we went from there. And it was one of those songs, first weekend that it was out, everybody was singing it back. So that's kind of your real test.
Yeah. It's a great song.
I'm also playing the Listening Room tomorrow night, by the way. I'm hopping up with Josh Phillips. So
nice.
Yeah, I'll see you then too.
Very cool.
I'm just throwing out all my Listening Room moments, something, but I'll be there tomorrow.
Steal My Thunder with Tucker. Talk to me about the story behind that one.
Yeah, that one's a very unique story because it was really written for the movie.
I wasn't sure like if the song came first, or so you specifically knew it was going to be in the movie.
Saw the scene of the movie.
Okay.
Wrote it to back it up.
Okay.
And even with that, you never know what's in like the producer's head. But I did know that the director loved Creek Will Rise, and that was kind of why we got the call because he loved that song that we had put out. And so they sent us over. This is the last week before the movie was like had to be turned in and finalized and done. So we're the last song, to make the record. But there was just one scene that they didn't have the song for, and they knew they wanted the energy of Creek Will Rise. So they called us. They sent us over the clip. We watched it in the room that day. It was me, Blake Pendergrass, Matt Jenkins, and Ben Johnson. And we wrote it in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And sent it back over. And next thing you know, we're in the biggest movie of last summer.
Yeah, dude. So cool. All right, let's talk about Smoky Mountain. Your album last year, it absolutely rips. What was your favorite song on that album?
As a songwriter for me, and thanks for saying that, but as a songwriter for me, that song "Meanwhile in Carolina" was the proudest song of that I wrote from that project. I wrote it with Blake Pendergrass, and I had that idea for a while. My favorite country songs are the storytelling, 3.5 minutes, where every line has to you have to squeeze the most out of every word to progress the story. Like songs like The Good Stuff or Three Wooden Crosses or There Goes My Life, those are my favorite songs. And I've always dreamed about how would you write one.
Yeah.
And I had that idea of Meanwhile in Carolina, just talking about your whole life, you grow up and you dream about, the person you'll end up with one day or marry. And then there's a certain moment where you meet them and all of these questions and prayers you've had before, now have the name and an image, right? And these two parallel stories intersect. That's kind of the concept I went in to the day with. And I knew that was such a broad concept that was going to be really hard to write. So I was like, I have to write this with the perfect writer who's insanely talented, but also super hungry, right? This can't be one of those days where you show up at 11 and they got to drop off the kids at 2:30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I called Blake Pendergrass because he's the best writer I know. And he's just incredible.
Yeah.
And so I called him. It was a night ride, actually. I think we started about 2 and we finished at midnight. And I remember leaving the studio that day after finishing that song and just feeling this sense of pride of just dude, I felt like we just did something super special. And we worked really hard for it. We went down every wrong lane to find the right lane.
Yeah.
And so as a songwriter, that's my favorite song I've written that we've gotten to put out.
I want to talk a little bit about your latest EP. Just came out. Was it last October?
Yeah,
I
October.
Think? Storyteller. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that one.
That was another project for me. That was as a new artist, I think it's really hard to kind of lay the foundation of who you want to be as an artist and growing that. And I always look at my career as hey, my goal is not to, be hot for 5 years. My goal is to build a 30-year career that I can look back on one day when I'm 50 and still selling tickets and just be really proud of the progression of the story. And I knew as a new artist, I'd had a lot of success with songs like I Hate Alabama or Take It Slow or even Creek Will Rise, which are all great songs, but I knew that there was a piece of who I was as a songwriter that I hadn't fully shown yet.
Yeah. And
I wanted just to lay the foundation. I wasn't writing these songs to get played on country radio or to, even for that commercial success, but to really just show the fans hey, this is another side of me that I haven't shown. I wrote that record down in Texas with a guy named Dwight Baker and Cleto Cordero, who is the lead singer of Flatland Cavalry. And we wrote, there's 5 songs on the record. We wrote 4 of them in 2 days, back to back. And then there was a 5th song I wrote by myself called Faith from a Farmer. That was just a really cool storytelling song for me. Yeah. And so that record was a 2-day trip down to Texas, all just kind of poetic storytelling songs. And it was cool to get to put that out to the fans.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm a huge fan. We always love having you at the listening room, and just appreciate you taking some time. I know there's a lot of stuff going on for you, and I'm just gonna keep rocking out and watching it, man.
Well, thanks for taking the time to do this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night at the listening room.
Yeah. Well, I got one last question for you. I always end with this. So, if you can go back to 8-year-old Connor, back in Franklin, what advice would you give yourself today?
I'm trying to. So much of the advice, I could give would be really generic, right? Stay true to yourself, all those things. But I think at the end of the day, man, I think as an artist, you have to master, and I'm so new and I'm so far from I've had a lot of dreams come true, and I got, another decade of dreams that, hopefully chase.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And I always say I'm in the 8 or 9 hole in the MLB batting lineup, right? I'm in the league, but there's still a long way to go before we make the All-Star game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I think as an artist, one thing I've learned and over the last couple of years really started to believe in more and more is like trusting your gut and your instinct. And that gut and instinct is not always going to lead you towards what other people want you to do. It's rarely going to lead you towards what other people want you to do. And it's definitely not always going to lead you towards that most commercial, like, next hit. But I think if you trust that gut and make music you're proud of at every step, even when people are saying, you know, that they have other ideas in mind, I think that over the course, I'm betting on, you know, like I said, I'm so new, but I'm betting on over the course of my career, I'll look back and be really proud of the career I built because of that.
Amen.
There you go.
Great advice.
Thank you, man.
Connor, appreciate it, brother. Good to see you.
Man, appreciate it.
Yeah. Mary, Sarah, in the house.
Hello.
CMAs. How are you?
I'm so good. Honestly,
Yeah.
today has been such a beautiful day. I was just telling my friend, I was like, I'm going to be home and my cup is so full. Like, you know, I've done CMA Fest for a long time. I've been in Nashville for 13 years. And something about this year that feels so different. I don't know if it's because I'm a mom now, that it's just, I'm just so grateful for the people that go out of their way to show up, who come to see me play, who stand in line and they wait and they wait and they wait. And that's what happened today. I literally, it was kind of funny because I got done with the show and the meet and greet's like right next to it. And I didn't realize the line for the meet and greet. I thought it was for someone else. It was like kind of connected into all these lines, you know? And I was like, dang, no one wanted to say hi. But then it turns out that a whole line was for me. And I was just like, that's so cool. I don't want to ever get over that. I don't want to ever get over that.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah. It's just really cool. And then I just, I'm a big hugger. So I'm just like, get in here.
I love it.
Let's talk it out.
Well, let's go back. I mean, you've had such an incredible career already. And you started at such a young age too. So originally from Texas.
Yeah.
What brought you to Nashville?
Oh my gosh. So, you know, I started in music at a very young age. So, when I was 12, I was on Kids Bop. And by Kids Bop, I don't mean the CDs, I mean the tour.
Yeah.
So I toured for 6 months, 48 cities, thousands of kids at these shows. So like getting my feet wet in entertainment and performing, which I adored. It was incredible. So that was the big kickoff into jumping into like what can be a career. It was the first time I'd ever gotten paid at that point too. And so I ended up going back to Texas after Kids Bop, and I did a record when I was 14 in Austin. So that was my first time doing songwriting. So I was already like building what would look like somewhat of a start to a career early on in Texas. And then it wasn't until I turned 15 and somehow landed on a record of duets with country music legends. And I started at 15. I was still in Texas at that point. So I was flying back and forth to Nashville to record with Kent Wells. And so I was like literally high school. I was like freshman, sophomore year, like high school during the week, weekends, Nashville. And no one believed me in school because I didn't have like photo proof. And I'd be like, I'm singing with Dolly Parton. They're like, no, you're not.
Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson. Like, I mean, just like, I can't even imagine at like 15 years old, what was going through your head?
I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah.
I was. You know, there are times where I do think, I'm like, God, why couldn't this happen when I was a little bit older? Because, you know, now I'm like, you know, I've been through life. I can ease the nerves. I can ease like those things. Like when I was 15, I was like in the other room. Dolly's in the studio. I'm here. They're like, you ready to see her? And I'm just like, yeah, you know, you're like, what do you say to Dolly? Like, and what do you, that was just running through my brain, those moments, you know, but I really am grateful because it just, it helped us start to build a really great foundation.
Yeah.
You know, getting words of advice, like Ray Price telling me, you know, keep it classy, girl. And, one of the other things he also said was, know your audience, always know your audience, whatever city you're in, know about it.
Yeah.
Know these people. And then tailor your show to those people. You know, don't give them the same thing every time. I'm like, heck yeah. So I still live by both of those things to this day, which is so huge. It was incredible. It was just a wild way to make my way to Nashville, Tennessee at 17.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Well, let's talk about everything that you've got going on now. So you had this amazing show today.
I did. CMA Spotlight stage.
Yeah. I was up there for just a little bit of it. We had a little bit of a break, and I popped up, and my daughter and I were walking around, and I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah." So I didn't get to see the show, but I saw like part of the sound check. So
cool. We love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, so what are you most excited about that's happening in your career right now?
You know, it's really funny. This is going to sound so odd, but like I really am oddly excited that I just went through a heartbreak because I have some great songs.
Yeah.
Some great songs. It's a weird thing to be like somewhat happy about, but really kind of just diving down deep into I've got some songs, whether it was like pre-breakup to kind of a song called We Look Happy, which is we look happy, but we're not happy anymore. And that's so hard to admit to one another too. And that, you know, that was kind of a turning point where we were leading into like the breakup. But then I've got the actual breakup songs and then the kind of angry ones. And then leading on to being single again after 5 years. Like that's foreign and weird in Nashville.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just really excited to get this music out because you know, I believe we all have a testimony. I think like we go through things in life to be able to share, and especially as songwriters, I think it's kind of as an artist songwriter, part of my duty to pull from things in my own life that, you know, hopefully someone hears it, and whether it brings more joy into their life or whether it's something they really needed to hear or just honesty, you know, in a song to go, it's okay, I've been there. And like, those are the songs that are coming out right now, and I'm just beyond excited to release them.
Do we have dates yet?
Not dates yet. We're thinking by end of year. So at least, yeah. So shooting, we're putting it together. I can't decide. I'm having a hard time. So I have to go in the studio here.
Let's decide. Let's just have a conversation right now.
I know.
Let's figure this out.
So obviously, industry wise, it's a singles game.
Yeah.
So, you know, I should probably do that. But traditionalist me is like, let me put that heartbreak album together and do the whole thing. And, you know, because they really fit really well together. Yeah. So I'm trying to decide. I mean, I think ultimately, I think we've decided like probably like 3 or 4 singles at first, and then we'll rock an EP or something like that. But you know how quick things are going these days. I just don't even know if that's even going to be a thing anymore, unless you're Morgan Wallen dropping 34 songs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love that plan though. I love when people kind of tease around, you know, just 2-3 songs, you know, and then they just drop the whole thing. It's like, and especially with the story that I feel like you're trying to tell, you know, those type of EPs or albums that you can listen from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, like I get your story. Like,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, maybe it is like a traditional me that like, I kind of remember that in the early days of things feeling really cohesive and really work well together, and storytelling within an album even. Cause you would want to listen from top to bottom because it made sense. Yeah. Like you would literally order the songs to make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but it's good. I just am very excited to get the music out there and then get back on the road. So
yeah, that was where I was going. So what's tour look like?
Well, I'm hoping that'll probably be next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now since I'm writing so much and recording, it's probably going to take up the next back half of this year, to get it out there and everything and videos and all of you know, so definitely next year we're going to be looking at hitting the road. So
we'll just have to get you into the listening room then.
I love to. You know how long I've loved from day one, from the OG on 2nd Ave. I've gone my entire life in Nashville to the listening room. I adore it. It's the place I tell people to go. Like, hands down, you've never been, you go to the listening room.
Well, thank you.
Because it's still, that. Seriously, you can go, obviously there's like rounds and stuff all around town, but there's nothing like it. And just the appreciation for the songwriter is huge to me, because I just as much have just been like, wow, we are nothing without a songwriter.
Yeah.
We don't have music.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we could go into how much it's not appreciated, but
we could, yes.
But it's okay because we do appreciate
That's right.
it.
That's
So
right.
we're changing it some way, somehow.
That's right. Well, I always end on this question, and I've been excited to hear what your answer will be because you started at such a young age. But if you can go back to 8-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself today?
Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. I'm like 8-year-old me. The first thing that pops into my brain is relax. And I don't know why. And I think that is because I think I've grown to find this comfort in the uncomfortable and everything that comes with the industry. And I think the biggest thing is, hey, not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. Yeah. So that's probably what I would say. Hey, just relax.
I love it.
Yeah. And you'll find your people, and the people who do love you, appreciate the hell out of them.
That's right.
Because it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you've got, you walk off stage and you think, nobody wants to talk to me. And then you see a line. All the way down the room.
I can't. I'm not kidding. I'm going to cry tonight. I am. Just because I've grown so much through the years. And I just feel incredibly grateful. And then I had my daughter there and she was dancing. And I was just like, how do you not weep? How do you just not cry, you know? So she got to see she was so excited to come to work with mommy today.
How old is she?
She's 4.
4.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a beaut.
Yeah.
Of course, too, she's getting over there and she's like, let me in the picture. And
oh, yeah.
she's like, how can I help you? Do you want me to hold? She's like, held the pictures while she handed them to me while I was signing them for people. It's like, girlfriend, you are on it. So you're on it.
I love it.
So,
my youngest is 5, and she was here with me yesterday, and she was like trying on clothes up there. And
oh, the clothes. I can't.
Daniel Diamond.
You should have.
I was like, girl.
I told
Take
Jackie,
that $800 jacket
keep going,
off.
keep
Yes.
going. I have to keep going.
Yes.
I can't look at it. Especially the kids' clothes. I was like, I'm going to buy it all. I'm going to buy it all. Run.
What's the one thing that you would want to say to fans that, like, I know these things are like, you know, everybody's asking the same questions, and CMA Fest is a lot of fun, but it's like, especially these things. What's the one thing that you have wanted somebody to ask you that they haven't yet? What do you want to say?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. What would I want somebody to ask? I don't know. That's a hard question. I feel like people have asked me a lot of great things today. I can't. I literally can't think of anything right now. Do you have anything that pops into your brain?
No, that's okay. I just wonder, like, you know, 'cause sometimes, you know, sometimes you're doing these things over and over and over again, and you're like, gosh, I wish that they would just ask me about this. So, but
that's a good
if
point.
you don't have an answer, that's the best answer. That's
that
good.
Means you did your job very well.
Hey, we did it.
I like this.
Yes. Well, Mary Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure just seeing you, and we would love to have you back at the listening room. And
I would love to come back.
Yeah,
I would
you
love
know,
to.
you got to start trying out all this music before you
I
put it out.
do.
You go back out on tour, so it just makes sense.
It's the perfect place too.
Thank you.
Goodness, I'm excited.
Well, let's do it. Well, thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Dawson Anderson, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
It's your CMA Fest debut.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. I'm grateful. It's been awesome to see fans. That's what I love about this week so much. It's just it's so fan oriented, which I love.
Yeah, you
coming
got
from
to,
all over.
Yeah. You got to play the Spotlight stage.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that, man.
It was awesome. It was. I remember getting up there and I played 5 songs, and it was just like. It was honestly one of my favorite shows I've played in a long time. I was telling my mom that yesterday when I got off stage. I was like, this was just surreal. It's good to be back. It's, you know, from being in the band and now rocking as a solo artist on the Spotlight stage. And it was amazing. There's a lot of people there too. So it was awesome. Yeah.
I love it. Let's dive into category 6.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, just viral hit.
Thank you.
Like, take me into the room. Like, just tell me the whole story behind that song.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's inspired by the love that's kind of dangerous and wild that you kind of are continually drawn to, but it's not necessarily good for you. And we just had the idea of category 6 because on the scale it only goes to category 5. So kind of like calling a girl 11 out of 10. You know, it's like technically only 10 out of 10, but it was like category 6, just putting that emphasis on it. Yeah, just relating a girl to a storm, and they're beautiful yet destructive, and some relationships can be like that, and I've had a couple of those. So just kind of pulling from that. And yeah, man, it's just been it's cool to see the song connect. You know, there's the melodies right from the jump. People are like, oh, that's that Storm Chaser song, Like, I love that. And so it's been really, really cool to have that. And of course, you never mad about some views on socials and new fans. People hit me up about it. So it's been amazing. This is like the favorite moment I've ever had in my career is with this song. So
what do you think it is about that song that just made it go viral so much?
I think it's kind of this like in between. Like, it's not really, it's not talking about, you're not trashing the relationship. It's like, but you're also not saying it's the greatest thing ever. It's kind of this like in between. Like, you kind of feel like you can be happy listening to it, or kind of like, yeah, this is like this breakup that I've been going through, and it kind of lives in that cool middle ground. And I think right from the jump that like, all my life I've been a storm chaser, like that melody just kind of like cuts right from the jump. Yeah, and even when I sing it too, it's like right as I sing that song, like it feels different than my other songs. And I love all my other songs too, but I'm just like, man, this one's like special. Like I can feel it.
It totally is, man. It's such a
Thank
great
you,
song.
brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about your debut EP.
Yes, sir.
Yours for the Breaking. What song are you most proud of on that album?
Probably the title track, Yours for the Breaking. Yeah, it was one of the last songs to be added to it. And we were picking between like the last 2 songs. It's 6 total. We were picking between the last 2, and I just knew that one had to be on there. I just had this like gut feeling, like I need this one to be there. And that one's performed the best on the EP, which is really cool, and had some good moments on socials too. And I don't know, like I was in a band for a long time, and now I'm a solo artist, and I just felt like that song, again, about a funny relationship, but it kind of embodies what I'm trying to do. And it's like, here I am, like now it's me, Dawson Anderson. It's like, I'm all yours. Like I'm giving everything to this, and I'm just kind of, that's part of what I'm trying to do with my fans and audience. And so, yeah, I connect with that song more than any of the ones on there.
Yeah. I love what you're doing as a solo artist, by the way.
Thanks, dude.
You're just crushing it.
I appreciate it. You've been so supportive over the years, man, even with the band and everything. And so it's been awesome to be able to play Listening Room and be back there. It's honestly one of my favorite venues in this town. It's amazing. People are respectful. You guys pay. It's great, man. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about tell me the story behind the title track.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote that one too. Did you write all of the songs on the EP?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm always open to outside cuts, but that just was one of those where we were writing. I've been writing. I kind of never slowed down on the writing, so I just continue to try to piece some things together. But yeah, I mean, just the title track I'm a very like hopeless romantic, like flirtatious dude, and so that's just one of those songs about meeting a girl at a bar and like pretty much kind of falling in love like overnight. And that's, I think I spot my wife somewhere around town probably 3 times a day. I'm always telling my team and family, like, I think that's my next wife right there. So I just think that song has like, it embodies exactly what I'm trying to do. And especially in this era right now, I'm sure I'll be married hopefully one day soon. One day, maybe down the road. And, but right now I'm just loving being in that kind of hopeless romantic, area.
I love it. Was that one of those that came out quick?
Yeah. We wrote it in probably like an hour and a half, I think. And we were also like hanging out in the room too. Yeah. And you just love when that happens because not every incredible song happens that quick, but a lot of times you find that the good ones, like the ones that feel right, do. Yeah. So that one was great, man. Clara Park and Mia Mantia and I wrote that. And immediately knew, I was like, this is something cool. And I listened to the demo probably 50 times like that week we wrote it. So yeah. I
love it. Man, you're teasing a lot of music right now.
Yeah.
So
trying my best.
What's next? Because you just keep putting stuff out there, and like I don't know. It's exciting, and it's always also like, all right, like
where are we going?
Yeah, where are we going?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I also feel that too sometimes. I'm like, because I'm still figuring out like where I want to take, what the next steps are, the next songs. And I feel like I just, like I said, continue to write. I try to always stay on top of that. And I got a new one. I got a couple new ones. One called Damn They Do that I really like. I got another one called Bad Day Worse that I really dig. And I don't know, I like to see what the audience likes. And I just like to post it and see kind of what will happen. But I always kind of have my, I've got my favorites that I lean towards, and I'll post those a lot. And also thinking about maybe doing a category 6, like really raw acoustic, like maybe even like a live taping of it, like for the DSPs, which could be really cool. Dude, that would actually be so sick.
Yeah. We could do it. We can make it happen.
Yeah, because one of the videos that blew up was me singing it live.
Yeah.
And I had success on like the actual like soundbite on TikTok, but like it was me singing it live was the most popular video. Yeah. And literally since day one, people have been asking for that. So we'll probably do that. And they're still asking. They're like, category 6, I want like a backyard version of it. So we could do like a live taping. That'd be sweet. Dude, I'll hit you up. Let's do this, dude. That would be sweet.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Well, what's coming up the rest of this year? Out on the road?
Just working on
taking time for the music right now.
Yeah, working the music, kind of continuing to grow this community that we have. That's been really, really mighty on socials, and but we're aiming to get there. People are asking where I'm going to be playing, and so I'm trying my best to book those shows. And my team is incredible, and we don't have a booking agent yet, but we're just staying on. We're hungry. We're grinding for
You're
shows.
Doing it right, dude. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see guys that they get hungry and they go out there before the music is ready.
Yeah,
and then it's like, then you're just on the grind on the road.
Right.
And you don't have that creativity to build.
100%.
So I applaud you for doing it the right way. And,
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's what it was in the band that I used to be in. It was like we just kind of took every show opportunity, and I don't regret any of that, man. You learn throughout the whole process, but it's been incredible to like, hey, let's do this the right way. And sometimes it takes longer. You have to be patient, and that's something that I've had to kind of remind myself almost daily. Like I love playing. That's my favorite thing to do in the world is play shows. Like I was born to be a light, to entertain, to make your day better, to, forget about the real world for a little bit when you come and watch one of my shows. So having to like work on the music and not kind of put the touring in the back seat, that was definitely a challenge for me. But it made me fall in love with the writing process even more. And like, I love social media, and I know a lot of artists like kind of struggle with it, but I don't get weird with the cameras, and I just like it. I go live all the time just to talk to my fans and my audience. And so we're building that up. And when the time is right, we'll start to book these shows. Love to get some awesome opening slots, lock down an agent eventually. But I think we're doing it the right way, and we're taking our time with it. So it's been really, really fun.
Yeah, I love it, dude. All right, last question.
Yes, sir.
If you could go back to 8-year-old Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. What advice would you give yourself today?
Ooh, that's a great question. Honestly, to be patient with things and not rush it. I've been doing this a long time. I started music professionally when I was 15, and I just thought everything was coming so quick. But there's so much beauty in the process. And honestly, I think that those are the golden years. I think when you get super famous and successful and you've got all the money you know what to do with, and which I don't have any of that yet, but I feel like when you get there and you've had that for a long time, you look back and you're like, man, the golden days were when we were in a van touring and, living on potato chips and protein bars and gas stations, and you're hardly sleeping. But, just enjoy that process, be patient, and know that everything comes in time.
Yeah. Love it. Dawson, appreciate you being
here.
My man,
thank you so much, dude. This is awesome.
Great to see you, dude.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Dude.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. Make sure to give us a follow on Spotify if you enjoyed this episode, and make sure you click that notification button so you can keep notified when new episodes come out. We release brand new episodes every Tuesday, and you can find us on YouTube at Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to send us a comment letting us know what you thought of the episodes. We love getting your feedback, and share this with your friends. The more we grow, the more that we can keep doing this. It's our mission to bring you all of these great stories behind the songs from some of Nashville's most iconic artists and songwriters, publishers, producers, everyone in between, and a lot of my great friends. We love what we do, and we love sharing their stories with you. We appreciate all of the continued support. Thanks also to all of our sponsors, and we will see you all next week.